Well, there goes the Daverhood. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the 775th episode of the Dave's Gone By Facebookio podcast and programmio of the stream. I'm going to angle this just a little more so you see the full beauty of the episode that we have in store for you. That means I have to move Potato up a little, who is distancing. We have a couple of our potatoes in quarantine because we have something like 400 of these potatoes around the house and in the basement. So invariably, with 4 to 6% of the population in New York coming down with coronavirus, some of these guys, no, some of them have the blight, which is even worse if you're a potato, but some do have coronavirus. So just in case, Potato is being very, very proactive. He's listening to all the directives. They've been holding, I thought last night when I passed by the basement, I heard a catch-up party going on because they usually have them most weekends. And Governor Cuomo has sent letters to us for the potato not to have a catch-up party. But the nice thing is I know they're distanced. I know they're wearing masks except when they're drinking ketchup. The only problem, of course, is a ketchup party. Basically, it goes on for 3 hours and they're nonstop drinking ketchup. So the masks are off, but they stay relatively distanced. They're not doing the dunking thing, where it's find the potato swimming in the ketchup and they're trying to do that blindfolded, which is basically blindfolded for them is this, which is also sort of pointless because they have eyes everywhere. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm Dave Lefkowitz, and you are watching the 775th episode of the Dave's Gone By Facebookio Podcastio Programmio of the stream with, yeah. Oh, are you on yours or mine? You're on yours. Joyce, my darling and adorable wife, is trying to do a watch party of the program. So, but if you're watching already. You're watching here. So feel free.
Oh, I know. I'm sorry.
Cool. Feel free to watch right here and to email me if you have any comments, davesgoneby@aol.com, or post right here on this Facebook page. It's Dave's Gone By is the Facebook page. So during the show, I don't necessarily have the time or wherewithal to check the messages myself, but Joyce is going to be with me for most of the show. She can check your messages. She'll read them out to me. She'll take notes on as many people as we can see who are watching at the moment. We'll say hi to you. But yeah, it's Dave's Gone By. We've been doing this since October of 2002, which is why we have reached episode 775 today. And we are calling this one, with all due respect to Frank Lesser, Sue Me. I know, not a legal thing and nothing to do with the potatoes being sued by the state of New York. No, this has to do with our guest in the Daverhood coming up in just about an hour. We have, what do they call these? A polymath. We have someone who is an English professor. She's also a comedian. She is a motivational speaker. She makes videos, and she's a songwriter and has even written a couple of family-oriented musicals. Her name is Dr. Sue Horowitz. She actually goes by the moniker Dr. Sue, and she is actually a doctor, a PhD type doctor, not a cure my boils kind of doctor, but yeah. And she posts a lot of cute stuff on Facebook and on YouTube. And so in the holiday spirit, she will be joining us to talk with Rabbi Sol Solomon, founder and spiritual leader of Temple Sons of Bitches in Great Neck, New York, because what better way to start the Hanukkah holiday, the Hanukkah holiday, than with this t-shirt that my wife got me, Live, Laugh, Lucky. Not quite sure which is which. We're assuming this is Live. We're assuming this is Laugh, definitely Laugh, and this one is Lucky, but this could be Lucky and this could be Live, because this is what life is in 2020. But either way, cool shirt, right? And happy almost Hanukkah to all of you out there in the Daverland, because this is the Daverhood. I guess the further outreach is the boroughs.
Why is Potato shaking when he saw your shirt?
Well, now, Potato, don't be alarmed. It's just like watching a movie. They're not really actual potato pancakes. I know, Potato. I know. I'm sorry, Potato. Here. Go. What should I have Potato do? Oh, here, Potato. Look at this. This is very cool. If you've been watching the show and you were watching the program a couple of weeks ago, here, Potato. Here's some good, delicious, high-level Sir Kensington ketchup for you. This is the good stuff. Here. Not that Heinz isn't good stuff, but all right, he's good. He's good. So, Rabbi Saul, who hasn't done this in a few weeks, so as soon as I stop talking about potatoes and ketchup, they fall asleep. Here we go. Here you go, Potato. That should set you up all right. If you've been watching the program, you know that Rabbi Saul Solomon, a couple of weeks ago, every once in a while, he will read the newspapers. He'll go and read the Jewish papers from out here on the South Shore of Long Island and comment on some of the cooler things that he'll find in them. So one of them in the local paper was an advertisement for a dentist, Dr. Shelley Blobstein. Great name, right? So,
wait.
well, hold it. Do the drill. Joyce is finding the drill noise. That's if you have a log notification. There we go. Listen to that. So it's Dr. Shelley, and we never heard of this name before. I was watching the Rabbi segment, and there's this big, ad for it for children having their teeth drilled and stuff. And I was like, okay, fine. And wouldn't you know, Joyce and I are walking along about a week ago, and in the road, in the street, we find this. This is one of my most treasured artifacts ever. And Joyce is like, we're in the middle of a pandemic. You really shouldn't be touching things and picking them up off the gutter. And I'm like, I don't care. This is too good. I cannot not take this. I thought it was either a decal or a bumper sticker, but it's not magnetized anymore. It's just like a piece of weird latex rubber. But check this out. If only my car was as clean as my kids' teeth, I heart Dr. Blobstein. It's not a joke. The Shelley Blobstein, I think she's in Cedarhurst. And look at these happy mouths. These sort of correspond. Now look at this with my shirt. So you got the eaty mouth, the chewy mouth, and the licky mouth, which I guess go with the regular latke, the laughing latke, and of course the living latke, or the loafing latke.
You're getting a commission from this. It's a great ad.
But Dr. Blobstein, if you're watching, please, we need sponsors. If you can sponsor the show, we could definitely use some dough.
Blobstein. You might not love her.
You might, well, even if you just like Dr. Blobstein. If Dr. Blobstein gets a cavity out of your kid's mouth and the kid isn't screaming.
What a name.
Shelley Blobstein. What a great, fantastic.
What her first name is.
Wouldn't it be great if she came from a long line of Blobsteins?
First name.
Well, Shelley. Isn't it Shelley?
Oh, Shelley?
Yeah. But wouldn't it be amazing if like 2 centuries back, there was a Rabbi Blobstein in Vilna, right? And the whole Blobstein family was this amazing congregation of very, very high-level Cohenite Jews. And it's, it's the Blobsteins. And they did that very specifically so they didn't get made fun of for having the name Blobstein. But ladies and gentlemen, don't make fun of me. I'm Dave Lefkowitz. That's my name. Don't wear it out, although I will drink it out. So besides Dr. Sue, who's going to be talking to us about her music, about her life, her career, her various pursuits, both before and during the pandemic, we will have our Today-Yesterday trivia quiz. That's a lot of fun. That's where I ask some questions about things that happened over the centuries on this date being December 5th, 2020. So I've got a few questions all about things that occurred on December 5th. And playing the game with us today will be Dr. Sue against our often reigning champion. And he goes back and forth between our other friend Leslie, but it'll be David Sheward, former head of the Drama Desk and a theater critic and writer. He writes for theaterlife.com, culturalweekly.com, and he even has a blog called thedaviddesk.com. Cool guy, and it's going to be cool because they're both educators. They've both been teachers now for quite a few years. So it's going to be 2 real smart teacher-like people going at each other in our Today-Yesterday quiz later in the program. We will also have, I'm sorry for this, but we will have a Wretched Pun of Destiny. Yes, a play on words that is just egregious and outrageous and terrible. I apologize beforehand. Repeatedly, I will apologize for the wretched pun of destiny, but we have one, excuse me, this week, and it will have to do with Judy. In fact, Judy Garland is part of our wretched pun of destiny this Saturday morning. Also, since we're talking about things for which I apologize, we will have our Colorado Limerick of the Damned, wherein we go to Coal Creek, Colorado, which is actually in northern Colorado, not too far from where Joyce and I used to live. Yeah. And we will also go inside Broadway for some news of the Rialto. Unfortunately, I mean, again, another thing I warned you about, I don't apologize for it. I'm actually kind of glad that we do it. But every week we talk a little bit about Broadway, and though there's no Broadway going on right now, or for many weeks to come, we do every week, we kind of lose people. There are folks who contributed quite a bit to the American theater, and then they drop dead. And we kind of let you know who they were and what they did in our Inside Broadway segment. And we do have also Greeley Crimes and Old Times, where we take a couple of stories from the Greeley Tribune newspaper called Cop Log and 100 Years Ago, and we share them with you. So it's quite a typical but fun, I hope, episode of the Dave's Gone By Facebookio Programio. So let's not waste any time. Let's get to our opening intro, and then we'll banter a bit and get to Greeley Crimes and Old Times here on this December 5th, 2020. Oh, what fun we'll have.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. There goes the Daverhood. And there was much rejoicing.
Didn't your meds kick in yet?
Yeah, David Lefter is here. He's a Long Island arts guy. He's got his own radio show.
I want you all to really enjoy a wonderful program done by a fine artist.
A glorious thing of unparalleled beauty.
Dave's Gone By. Dave is one of my very favorite broadcasters, so keep on listening to Mr. Dave.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Dave's Gone By with me, Dave, here on this Saturday morning. We're here every Saturday from 9 until noon or thereabouts doing the program. So another amazing week in this incredible year of 2020. It's been, thank God, you know, I'm healthy, my wife is healthy, my folks are healthy. You know, I'm going to do the spit through the fingers or the knock wood. I hope everybody that you know is too. There's a sense of just encroachment, though. There's a sense that you can hide, you can barricade the door, but at some point, it's going to touch you. And whether it makes you really sick or kills you or just gives you a light tap, or someone you know is just going to go there. I mean, I work in a school district, and you know, like weeks ago, we would get a letter every week or two of saying a staff member at this building of the school has, you know, come down with coronavirus, and they're being, you know, they're home, they're quarantining. We don't have to shut the school. We don't have to shut the rooms that they're in. Don't have to take anybody home. We're just contract tracing. So maybe one or two. Sorry, what was that?
Actually, David, it's a big scam now. I was telling my sister that yesterday I got a thing from the Department of Health and Human Services about like electronic scams, and it's like an email or text scam where they'll contact you and say, we're contact tracing, we need to notify you, someone's given us your name, give us money and we'll schedule a test. And it's fake.
Oh, wow.
It's fake
So I guess, I mean, we're not saying that contract tracing as a scam. There are scammers out there.
And they say we'll also register for the vaccine early. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
The things evil people think of, you know, in the midst of this, the things that people will sit at home and say, how can we make money off of desperate people? I mean, just they should get the coronavirus that puts them in a field hospital and kills them. Oh, I do wish that on anybody who pulls a scam like that. But no, there are also real contract tracers out there working day and night.
Tracers. We said
I'm sorry, contact tracers
In English.
in English, working day and night to figure this all out and to keep people safe. But weeks ago in the school, like this staff member at this building, they're home, they're not going to be back in school until they're tested and they're clean for 2 weeks. And now, invariably, as the third wave hits us, every other day, the superintendent of the district sends us a letter. Oh, a student in this building has come. No need to panic. No need to worry. No buildings closing. Nobody, no grade being sent home. It's just like, we're just contacting the people that were close to them-ish in a way that wasn't properly distanced with masks and so forth. Like children are always going to be properly with masks and stuff. Meanwhile, I don't know, our school, it must be because we're in a school district that isn't necessary, that isn't really at all Jewish, although we have some Jewish people in it. In the Jewish school district-ish, where my cousin goes, right? What do you call my cousin's daughter? What is that called? My second, I can never get these family tree things right. She this is hysterical. Weeks ago, this part isn't hysterical. She broke her wrist, right? And so she's out of school for like 2 weeks. School was in session, but she was out of school for 2 weeks. She comes back to school, and the kid sitting next to her in the row, 6 feet apart, with a mask, with a plexiglass thing, comes down with COVID. And now she's a little too close, been in school. She's going to be home for 2 weeks quarantining just because she was traced next to this other kid. Meanwhile, in our district, it's like, oh, a kid came down with bubonic plague.
No, but
we're going to spritz a little fantastic.
No,
we're fine.
You don't. I'm sure the other kids are notified and staying home. You're just not notified because you're not a direct contact.
That could be. Yeah, I could be wrong about that. Yeah. Maybe it's sort of like the diamond thing, like the kid in the middle. Yeah.
I used to do contact tracing when I was an HIV counselor. If you're exposed, you're notified.
Wow. Oh, I'm sure they're notified, but I guess the kids around, there are a couple of kids near that kid who are sent home for a week or two.
Everyone in the radius that they feel is unsafe,
But what is just infuriating me about the whole situation now is, I'm usually infuriated by hypocrisy, but I'm infuriated by people talking out of two sides of their mouths, out of not knowing whether the news is good or terrible, right? So we're in a district where, since we reopened, as it were, back in August of our school district, we've had it set that on Monday, everybody's working remotely. All the kids, all the teachers, they're taking classes, but they're done. Every single day, the buildings are empty. They're being cleaned, supposedly. They're being or left quiet for an extra day, so that any germs are there for 72 hours and go away, presumably. And everybody's working from home. And then the next 4 days, the kids come in and the teachers come in staggered ways and in a properly distanced fashion. And so they get into their heads that here we are 2 weeks away from the Christmas holidays, away from, the next part of the year, because it's a elementary, it's an elementary school, and it's got, we don't do it in semesters. There's no first semester. So it's like a full year thing. And so 2 weeks, before all this, they implement the plan that starting on Monday, we're all back in school, right? In the midst of the third wave, in the midst of more people being hospitalized in New York, at least, and actually around the country, in the whole history of the disease, right? Starting last week, right in the middle of it, let's bring the people even more together than they were, And you've got de Blasio in New York, who, has a deal, I guess, with the unions like a couple of weeks ago. Oh, the wave is starting. We're going to close the schools down again. We're going to keep the kids home. But you know what? We're just going to do it temporarily. So right in the middle of everything, I think on Monday, all the New York City school kids go back in 5 days a week. I mean, it's like, what signal are you trying to send? Are you trying to say that we're in the worst part of it? That this wave is going to be even worse in some ways than the first wave of the disease, and we should all be distancing and not going to restaurant, not going to do anything? Or is it, the vaccine's coming, and let all the kids be together. We'll distance them, they'll be okay. Now, what were you going to say, hon? Okay. So this going back and forth between being insanely panicked and being told this is horrible, and where literally on TV this morning they're saying it's very likely. I think Biden was even saying to get ready that between now and January, another 250,000 people in America are going to die. Good morning to you. And 250 more thousand people are going to drop dead, right? Probably no matter what we do, you know. And some people are basing this, well, it's because Thanksgiving, people disregarded, people disobeyed, and they did this and they did that. And meanwhile, you know, most of the people I knew, most of the people that I know didn't really do a full Thanksgiving. They didn't invite like 50 people or what have you, or they stay outside. And they did take more than their usual precautions of just having a Thanksgiving meal where people share off each other's plates and they dip with the same spoon and they talk and the spit goes everywhere. So, but they're immediately thinking, well, because everyone celebrated Thanksgiving and will celebrate Hanukkah and Christmas, that the wave is going to literally explode in another week or so, and we'll have the hospitals full and overburdened. The old people are going to die again. The people in the nursing homes are going to die again. And meanwhile, it's like, oh, vaccine's coming. We're going to be fine. It's like, you know, and here's the other part. The part that did make me smile this week was that I read one story that in England, they're starting first. Like they got approval on their vaccine. And so I was like, oh, this is great. Who is? What? Yeah, well, three presidents have volunteered to be on the front lines of taking the medicine here in America, the vaccine, right? Which is, you know, God bless. Jimmy Carter wasn't one of them. He's like 97. And it's, anything that you introduce differently into his body is going to cripple him. So it's like, you know, as long as he stays alive, he doesn't have to do anything. But the other three, George W. Bush, Bill Clinton, and Barack Obama, the three alive presidents there, they're like, we're doing it. You know, Trump probably won't. Trump probably has his own remedy that he's been stirring up in a bathtub with, you know, Clorox. Well, what? He had the disease. He may or may not have the antibodies. His wife may or may not have. His son may or may not have the antibodies at this point. So they're all drinking from some kind of cool batch of spray of maybe furniture polish that when they get the disease, they're not suffering terribly, so far as we know, right? But it's just kind of. I was thinking, well, this is great. Let the English, let them start. You know, let them be the guinea pigs, because it's really hysterical that if you want to put a food on the market, if you want to sell some kind of new snack, it takes months and months to get approval from the Food and Drug Administration, from health, but you got to get this, and they got to check the ingredients, they got to check their side effects, they got to do this and that. And meanwhile, here's a drug. They do tests of it. You know, how do you even decide what long-term effects are of a drug when you invent the drug and 3 weeks later you want to put it on the market? How can you even gauge that? How do you know if side effects are going to be nil for the person taking them? But if a woman takes the drug, her baby is going to be born with an extra leg, or so you don't know. But this is kind of cool. Or it's really not going to work like this, but the article said that the English are going to try it first. They've got a drug from Pfizer. They've got, what's the other, Moderna? And they've got a drug from somewhere else. They'll do it. And we can just, you know, I would sit back and watch for a couple of weeks. Just like, okay, you know, how the English doing? Are they, do they suddenly go off, you know, fish and chips? And do they stop out of nowhere? Do they lose a taste for Guinness? Right? Or is that the Irish? No, I think it's in English. Something happens in their brain. Steak and kidney pudding is now disgusting to them, right? And so, okay, well, is that a side effect we'll have to? No, I guess it's all right. We can deal with it. Or do we suddenly have a month from now, everybody in the UK develops these these horrible rashes, and they start walking around like Gorbachev with wine stains on their heads. And it's like, ooh, all right, better than being dead or not being able to breathe, but let's maybe tinker with this vaccine a little bit. So I'm perfectly, I'm happy to kind of let the English, let them be the guinea pigs, let them get this ball rolling, and then we'll watch them and be like, okay, we're the more important Americans. Now you look okay. Let's take that vaccine. So, when will you take the vaccine? Will you take the vaccine?
Whenever I'm on the list, I'll take it. Whenever they open it up to my group of people, I'll take it.
So like the first week, if it's made available.
They're not going to give it the first week. It goes the first week to first responders. Then it goes to people who are highest risk, and then it goes down the risk chain. So whenever they come, whenever I get the my chart message saying you're eligible, I'm going.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like someone I know got tested last week, and thank goodness she came up negative. But she said the one thing was, I mean, here it was. This is not the vaccine. This is just to get the rapid test for this thing, and said that she was on a line outside for over an hour. And I'm wondering, I mean, it's 40 degrees out. There's people in masks, all a line probably running around the corner, around the block. They're staying distance, but just by percentages, some of those people are going to be positive. Is it actually, how much sense does it make to be on a line for an hour surrounded by strangers, just waiting to be tested, and that test may end up not meaning anything 3 days later, for all you know. This is what I don't, at least with a vaccine, you get it, and presumably, even if you're near someone who's got it, you're protected, or you might get it, but not in a terrible way, because they're giving you, live vaccine. They're giving you some.
They don't give you live. It's not.
Well, what is it?
Is it dead virus? It's not live.
It's a dead virus then. So, which is fine. But it's just this idea of having a certain level of risk. It's this idea of you're a little sick. In the old days, a doctor would come to your house. You would be in the bed. The doctor would feel your thing, do the stick, give you the medicine you needed, test your pulse, and go. And the doctor was taking the risk. For years now, of course, sick people go into the doctor's office. And they sit there in the waiting room, and this was before pandemic, no mask, no sanitizer, no gloves, no nothing. They're just sick people in a waiting room getting each other sicker. It is the most ridiculous idea of healthcare I've ever heard, ever thought of. And this is what we do. I'm not talking about broken bones, because you can't catch that. But you go there with a minor cold, and you're there next to someone with pneumonia. What good is that? So I'm just wondering how, if you've got hundreds of people lining up one by one, going into the meat factory that is a doctor's office and waiting for just a test, how are they going to coordinate millions of people having to get this vaccine? How are they going to do that? What are they, do you just show up for an appointment, like you have a 10-minute window with which to just get on the line and get out, and that way it doesn't become like massive people standing on the streets, shuffling their way for the vaccine? I guess that would make sense. How do you deal with the shut-ins? How do you deal with people who, like someone I know very well, who cannot get out of the house, right? Literally cannot get out of the house. How do you get that vaccine to them? Because they need it more than anybody else.
Yep, there are also people that refuse it.
Well, that's the other. Well, what is the thing? If they can get 3/4 of the population to take it, then the immunity kicks in, or the herd immunity. So if you have like 10 people in a room, and 1 or 2 of those people aren't vaccinated, they might get, but they're not going to get you sick. I mean, does that make sense? Well, I don't know either. But anyway, so that's just what just don't get your story straight, get your panic straight, get your caution straight. Stop bringing us like up mountains of hope and then down, crashing us into valleys in despair. Find that middle ground, that understandable, reasonable middle ground where a normal person can look and go, okay, got to be careful, Let's do things that are reasonable. Let us not have 8 million people at an Orthodox wedding with no masks on. But at the same time, 20 people very distanced in a restaurant isn't all that different from 100 people in a Target milling about. There is an unfairness on some level of the way people are being treated, and store owners and business owners are being treated during this pandemic. I stand closer. I go to Trader Joe's, or if I go to the supermarket, or even the friggin' Duane Reade, not so much as Duane Reade, but like Trader Joe's in the supermarket, I'm unfortunately closer to people than ever. You're squeezing for an aisle. They've got a mask, you've got a mask, but still, you are much closer than 6 feet away from an absolute stranger who may have God knows what. And you're just doing it, and you're there, and you just get away from them as best you can. And these places can stay open because they're necessary, and people have to eat and people have to shop. So is that really acceptable, right? In a way that having a restaurant that seats 100 people, you put 30 people in there, you keep them away from each other. The waiters, everybody's wearing masks, everybody's even wearing gloves perhaps. And, and yet that has to close by 10 o'clock, or they might not be able to open at all if things get worse. I don't know. I don't get it. I do think there's some sort of selective, not quite logical rulemaking going on, which is why you've got these lawsuits going back and forth. You've got this bar owner in, I think he's in New York or Colorado. I think it's a New York bar owner who's been arrested because he's refusing to close his bar. And he's just saying, what the hell am I doing? I got to make a living here. What am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to brew gin in my bathtub and just leave it on the stoop for people to take? If I'm safe, if I'm following precautions, why are you targeting me? Why are you closing me down, right? And arresting me for trying to run my business in a safe way. I mean, it really is a complicated thing. But anywho, I thought I'd be funnier about all that, but I think I've just got like a lot of pent up anger and frustration about this whole thing. I mean, I didn't think it would come out here, but it's coming. It's like, because that's the other thing. We're just not seeing light yet. Everybody wants us to see light at the end. Oh, there'll be Broadway in fall of 2021, and there'll be a vaccine in a few weeks. And it's like, okay, sort of amorphously, but right now for the foreseeable week, 5 weeks, 12, 15 weeks, more nothing. And more people telling us, oh yeah, another 250,000 people are going to drop dead and the hospitals are going to be full. Happy 2020, happy Christmas, happy Hanukkah, happy Kwanzaa, happy Festivus to you all. But one thing made me happy this week. One thing that I got really, really delighted and excited about. My wife and I drink a lot of seltzer. My wife more than I do. I haven't egg creams and stuff, but she loves the seltzer, and we get it. So we get a lot of seltzer, but it's become very, very hard to open the bottles. It's true. It's true. Whether we get Canada Dry is a little easier, but we get either is it Schweppes or the other one? It's Schweppes. Or even the store brand of seltzer water. And we're sitting there, and I'm trying, and I can't open it. She's a little stronger than I am, so she can open the bottle, but sometimes she hands it back to me, and I'm taking like my undershirt, and you found them! Oh.
Do you want to demonstrate?
No, because you have an open one. Give me that open one, and I'll demonstrate even though it's open. Oh! This makes me happy, ladies and gentlemen. Rarely do you see Dave happy.
Wait, put it on your head first, like you will.
So I'll show all of them. Do you remember back in the day, politicians used to give you really cool and useful things? Like funeral homes would give you a calendar, like with all the Jewish holidays on it. That was really great. You didn't have to run out and buy a calendar with pictures of puppies on it. You had a calendar that you could use. Or you would get pens from places with their addresses and their phone numbers on it. Remember us, here's a pen. Great. You at Minuteman Press will do that for you. But the great thing that politicians used to give you was bottle openers, jar openers, these rubbery silicone things that the greatest idea in the world. You put them in your hand, you open something, and you were able to turn and grip. Because for some reason, it's just, you're like, you can't, even if your hands aren't slippery, even if you're not, don't have oil or grease on them, still you're like, I can't. And then some genius got the idea to make these, and then politicians thought, you know what, if I put my name, or some company thought, if I put my business address and website on one of these, this is going to be in somebody's kitchen for years. Then every time they open that drawer, they're going to look and see that this is so much better than a newspaper ad, much better than a bus stop, advertisement, better than pretty much any, and pens, people give away pens, they lose them, they don't look at them, but you get a jar opener. So we had one that we brought from Colorado with us, but we keep that one in the kitchen because everybody can use it. And I'm like, you know what? We're up here. We want to open our seltzer. I'm either going to run downstairs and get the thing or figure out another way. Let me buy some gripper openers. And ladies and gentlemen, it took a couple of weeks. You know, we were supposed to have gotten them, and it took a couple of extra days. I was getting worried. Dave was going to have to phone China, where they make these things, and say, hey, where are my grippers? Because I need to get through the rest of this year. And with everything going the way it is, my one ray of light, my one bit of sunshine in my life is having a little piece of rubber with which I can open a jar or a bottle. So ladies and gentlemen, please note, I'm not really advertising for this company, so I'll turn it this way. Behold, most magnificent. Why politicians? I'm begging you, if you are.
So Robert Callan wrote Staten Island? I don't know.
Well, they have, maybe he was referring to the wave and that Staten Island is
4 minutes ago?
4 minutes of Staten Island?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'll figure
But hey, Robert is a friend of the Daverhood. He was on the show and he went to school with me. We were in high school together. But here's the deal. Look at this. I got blue and I got green and the special Debo hat. So I don't know, they're all essentially meant for the same thing. This one is presumably for, like, watch me work. Oh, watch me whip, watch me nay, ladies and gentlemen. Is that the most beautiful thing you've ever seen? Now, they did warn me. The reviews on these were 4 stars or 3.5 stars instead of 5. Because you can see they're a little bit, they're not quite made the way.
Your Devo hat, you look very cute.
Oh, thank you. But notice how already it's starting to get scuffed and marked up, and it's so thin. Now I'm worried.
Oh, the
One
bar
good char will.
the bars in Staten Island.
Oh, the bar was. Thank you, Robert. Yeah.
Oh.
I'm worried that whatever I put through will literally poke a hole in this and it'll be useless after a few tries. I'm hoping not. I'm hoping that this is a half decent silica. I can tug on it a little bit. That's what she said, and it'll be okay. But blue, my green, and even the very special. If I run out of masks, I'm gonna build a mask as well. But here, Potato wants to try this. This is gonna be cool. Watch this. Watch this. Oh man, you are styling, Potato. Look at that. I think he's finished his ketchup.
Oh, Potato.
Isn't he adorable? So that's so finally, it's these little things in my life that get me through, these little moments of joyous wonder, of finding the non-magnetic bumper sticker for Dr. Blobstein. And it's fine, it's ordering these on the interwebs. This somewhat makes me somewhat happy. What else? What's going on in your life, dear? How's your week going? not doing anything. None of us is doing much of anything these days. Anticipating Hanukkah. Well, I don't want to talk about that. I never did get to talk about hair dye.
Oh, talk about it.
Well, you've seen it, right? You saw the clip.
Yes.
What happened to Rudolph Giuliani? What is going on with this man? This man who was one of the best mayors that New York ever had. I know it's very fashionable right now to make fun of him, to kick him. People have hated him since he turned really staunch Republican and pro-Trump. And I know in the last 2 years of his rule in Manhattan, he went from being he did stuff, right? He actually accomplished a whole bunch in turning Manhattan around. And then when he did that, he's like, well, what else can I do? And he became just no dancing in clubs. And he started to do what the Democrats are being accused of being the nanny mayor, of making kind of stupid laws and trying to govern what we're all doing. And people got tired of him. And people were like, hey, you were so great after 9/11. You were such the right mayor for the time. And you really, really turned around New York after years of Mayor Beam and Lindsay and Koch and Dinkins, and 42nd Street was now a tourist mecca, for better or worse. And streets were cleaner and so much less crime, and you could walk up and down 8th or 7th Avenue. I mean, it was like he made an enormous difference in New York, right? Whatever side of the political spectrum you're on. And now he's become Donald Trump's lawyer, and the image that we will have of Rudolph Giuliani for the rest of our lives now, probably. Did you see the clip, babe? Did you see this?
A lot of people said it wasn't hair dye. I don't know what it could have been.
Well, I mean,
but a lot of people dye their hair, and usually the dye is permanent.
I know.
How do you sweat so much that you undo permanent hair?
Because on both sides of his face, you all saw that. Both sides of his face.
Use that thing like you comb in mascara in your hair.
Right. He probably knew he was going on TV. He figured he needed a last-minute touch-up. I'm serious. So he blobbed, Shelley Blobstein, he blobbed on some dye, figuring that, forgetting maybe that there's hot lights even in the middle of late fall, and it starts running down the side of his face. The poor guy. Women have been wearing hair dye for decades. This does not happen to them. Have you ever, your mom used to go to beauty parlors, my grandma. Did this ever happen to anybody?
Only when they're actually putting the wet dye on the wet hair, then it happens.
Yeah.
But once it dries now.
So, and when it first started happening, I imagine people were like, oh my God, he's bleeding out of his ears. You can't, what the hell is going on with this man? And it's embarrassing. It could happen to, it really could happen to anybody. Anybody can have a moment like that. A moment where you didn't realize you had to go to the bathroom, and then 15 seconds later, you've got to. I mean, that happens to people, these kinds of, but it's just this concatenation of embarrassments for this man who, who was a fabulous mayor in a lot of respects. What goes, did he lose his mind, do you think? He's divorced 3 times, I think, or divorced twice and remarried again. He's probably a very different person and probably should be on some meds.
Sometimes life just gets you down.
It's true. Well, we know he lets his hair down. That's for sure. But yeah.
He's lucky he didn't dye his eyebrows.
Well, he doesn't have a mustache. He's like,
Like Pierrot.
Oh my God, ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Dave's Gone By with me, Dave Lefkowitz, my darling and adorable wife, Joyce. Potato is with us. Gripper is with us. Oh, we're so happy. Why don't we do, let's go to Greeley for about 15. Before we do that, let's welcome Chris and Michael, Eric, Mercedes, Jeff, Rubina, David G. Is that David G from my high school, maybe?
David G,
Dr. G, Sharon and Denise, Larry, Leslie, but not our usual Leslie, Chris and Brian, George, Bill, Jim, Eric, Vicky, Alan, Maria, Robert, another Jim, Warhol, welcome Warhol always, Peter and Ben. We're waiting for, do we have a Vo or a Bo? He didn't show up yet, that's a shame.
Yeah, Bill had to go, but Bill wrote in some stuff.
Oh, Bill had to go?
Bill's got something to do on
It's
Saturday.
pouring out, Bill. Where the hell are you going?
I think he's doing
Oh, well, oh, well. But welcome to everyone who tuned in or tuned in partially. Remember that if you miss all or part of the program, they're archived right here on this Facebook page and also at davesgoneby.com. But for now, let's go to Greeley, Colorado, or maybe, you know what, maybe I'll save that because I want to leave a little more time for that. And instead, let's get the theatrical stuff out of the way because I was so serious before talking about the pandemic thing. I thought I'd be joking around and I ended up getting so serious. Let's stay in a semi-serious mode, but talk about something that I do love very much, Broadway. Inside Broadway, a look at theater on and off Broadway and beyond. Brought to you by Total Theater and Performing Arts Insider. Curtain going up. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, inside Broadway we go. Pretty much every week here, because I've been a theater critic, an actor, a director, certainly a playwright, and a theater journalist. I love the theater, and I love talking for just a few minutes about what's happening on the stages of New York. Well, of course, nothing is happening on the stages of New York right now. Nothing has since the middle of March, and nothing will until the end of May 2021. However, this week, Dr. Fauci predicted that if 3/4 of the population were to get vaccinated by springtime, Broadway really could be up and running by the fall. So, you know, when the Broadway League says May 30th as the earliest time that things could get started, I think what they mean is people can start rehearsing, get backstage, touch up the sets, get the actors and stuff back in there, and then maybe audiences by August, September can start seeing shows again. And of course, there are shows on the schedule already for Broadway for September, October, November of next year, well into 2022. So before I was talking about light at the end of all this, at the end of the tunnel, there is, it's just kind of far away for now. But here's some darkness. Most of this segment, I'm afraid, is going to be darkness, but let's pay tribute to some folks that we lost this week, for people who contributed to Broadway and off-Broadway in New York. Got to say a farewell to Miguel Algarin, who died on Tuesday at the age of 79. He was a Rutgers English professor, kind of an expert on Shakespeare. Most importantly, he was co-founder of the Nuyorican Poets Cafe. He was sort of the last man standing with playwright Miguel Pinheiro and Pedro Pietri, who founded it back in the 1970s. What happened was Algarin was letting open his living room to poets, to playwrights, to lyricists, songwriters, stuff, just all these artists who would congregate and perform for each other, share their work, edit each other, sip coffee. And so many people got into it and got involved that they needed another place to do that. And so they got one. They started renting a place on East 6th Street, and then they bought, so smart of them, they bought their building on 3rd Avenue and created the Nuyorican Poets Cafe. It is, what was that?
Yay.
It's known for its slam poetry. That was sort of the focus of slam poetry in New York for many years. They've won 30 Audelco Awards. Those are for African-American things. And they got a grant from the Obies, that's off and off-Broadway organization. And Miguel Algarin, not really a playwright. He was known for poetry. He won 3 American Book Awards. And by the way, there's a movie about Miguel Pinheiro. He's kind of the most famous one to come out of the Nuyorican scene because he wrote a play called Short Eyes that made it to Broadway. But in the movie about Pinheiro's life, Giancarlo Esposito played Algarin. So he lives on. You know, anybody who watches that movie, he will be remembered, but he'll also be remembered for co-founding Nuyorican, and he will be missed. Well, don't miss what's happening on, off, and off Broadway. You're going to need this journal, this magazine, Performing Arts Insider, the Bible of Broadway.
Oh, Bill said he's on for He's going to give details of what he's working on next week.
Oh, cool. Okay.
He's got a whole thing going on, but he'll be listening for 20 minutes.
Yay! Bill's listening for 20 minutes. I'll pack these minutes with excitement, Bill. Because first of all, hey, this is the exciting publication that for years, since 1944, has told people what is on the stages of New York. For example, here's a guide to the Broadway district when things reopen. These are the shows that were either playing and then stopped in the middle of March and then hope to come back, or shows that were just about to open but never got to, but maybe will, plus shows that are indeed scheduled many months from now. And then we get, of course, all the theaters, their locations, how many seats they got. This is really important to producers and producing organizations. They need the information that's in this journal. Well, what they?
Bill said they're doing live performances following distancing protocols and providing masks for those who don't have it. And they're utilizing their garage in East 10th Street.
Okay.
Every Saturday, 2 p.m.
Whoa.
Even though shut.
I should probably do something with the Rabbi if they'll let me. I'm not sure what. I'm not sure they should, actually. But anyway, guide to press agents. These are the folks who handle the shows, because this is an industry publication. So if you want to contact someone who's involved in a Broadway or an off-Broadway show, you don't just sort of go to the backstage door and say, hi, I'm here. These are the people you call. It's like, I want to contact a designer for Wicked or Diana or Six. I want to contact the playwright who wrote Harry Potter. These are the folks that you're going to go through, the press agents. And then, of course, our day-by-day calendar listing of every show when it reopens on Broadway as well as off and off Broadway, which will likely start, as we're hearing right now from my friend Bill Bradford, who was a stage manager for the Rabbi show. He does a lot of work down at Theater for the New City. They're figuring out ways to do theater live, in person, for a very safe and distant audience.
Also streaming on the website.
Oh, okay, yeah, you can also watch via Zoom, so that's fantastic. A guide to every Broadway show, comprehensive guide with everyone listed and their contact information. The designers, the writers, the choreographers, the producers being listed, the agents, all of that, page after page, and every page of Performing Arts Insider. How do you get it? Go to performingartsinsider.com. That's how, performingartsinsider.com. It's rather expensive. And we were actually thinking of killing it this past year. I was like, you know what? I'm the editor-in-chief, and I'm like, why are we doing this? No theater. I've been doing this for a bunch of years. It's taking up a lot of my time, but the subscribers still want it. They know theater's coming back. And they know that there's also a column now in this journal showing you free and also paid for shows that you can watch on your computer, virtual theater, Zoom theater, as well as shows that were taped in regular theaters years ago that you can watch on YouTube at your leisure or in other places. You can physically go and spend 2 hours in the comfort of your living room. But how do you find out what those shows are? Right in the pages of Performing Arts Insider. So go to performingartsinsider.com, the Bible of Broadway. All right, let me tell you about another couple of people who passed away this week in the theater world. Got to say farewell to actor Warren Berlinger, who died on Wednesday at the age of 83. Kind of cool. Family owned Berlinger's Glass Store on Avenue D, which should give you some idea of his background. Made his Broadway debut in nothing less than the original run of Annie Get Your Gun. And then he was in a hit play in 1950 called The Happy Time that served as the basis for a flop musical that Kander and Ebb did called The Happy Time. He was in his most famous Broadway claim to fame was a play called Blue Denim that was popular enough. It got him a Theater World Award, and he was in the movie too. And then in 1961, he was the original buddy in Neil Simon's Come Blow Your Horn, a show that is very, very close to my heart because that is the first play that I ever did. I played the angry, raging father in the show, and then there was Buddy and the two brothers, and this was the original guy in Come Blow Your Horn. His final Broadway show was a big flop. The show itself was called A Broadway Musical, and it was by Charles Adams, Lee Adams and Charles Strauss, who also did, oh my God, Bye Bye Birdie. But this was a one-night flop that Berlinger was in. And I think at that point, I'm sticking with movies. I'm sticking with TV.
Another comment about theater, honey.
What was that?
Jim Kay said we should talk about the pandemic is making us rethink what theater is on next week's show.
Okay, who was
Jim?
Jim, all
Are you
right.
talking, Jim? Naval?
Oh, yeah, so
Yeah, I said, so for sure. I'm going to say sure thing, okay?
you betcha. We just got a message from our guest next week in the Daverhood, Jim Nabley, who is a musician. He's a member of the Randy Bandits, but he's also turned into a playwright and author. So it would be great to talk to him about all sorts of stuff like that. But
I just said sure thing, great idea. Thank you, Jim.
Thank you, Jim. So Warren Berliner said, Cannonball Run, The World According to Garp. If you Google him and you see his face, he's one of those character actors where you go like, that guy passed away on Wednesday, Warren Berlinger. And farewell also to Peg Murray, Margaret Peg Murray, who died at the end of November. She was the original Fräulein Kost in Cabaret. Sort of the not very nice caretaker of the house where the Jewish woman, the other Fräulein lives. Anyway, she understudied. Well, tell me. What?
Jim wrote silent K, so it's navel.
Oh, yeah, no, it was silent K. But is it Nabel or Nabley? I think it's Nabley, like neighborly without the But it's Lagenlenya. She understudied Lagenlenya as the other Frau, Fräulein Schneider, and then took over that role in Cabaret. Her first Broadway role was in 1956 in a show called The Great Sebastians. I know nothing about that, but check it out. She had roles in the original Gypsy, including Tessitura. She had a cameo in the original She Loves Me. She was Mrs. Schroeder in the Sondheim musical Anyone Can Whistle. And she was a replacement Golda in Fiddler on the Roof. If you know her, if you've seen her, it's because she did a bunch of daytime soap operas. Her last Broadway role for Peg Murray was in the 1987 revival of Cabaret again, this one with Joel Grey again. So farewell to these people. Miguel Algarin, to Warren Berlinger, or Berlinger, I honestly don't know if I'm mispronouncing that, and to Margaret Peg Murray, all these folks that we lost in the Daverhood. Well, we're coming up to about 10 o'clock on Dave's Gone By. We've got so much more for you.
So David, he said,
yeah.
I said Nably or Nabler, Navel or Nably.
Mm-hmm.
And then he said, I've never heard of Nably except as Napper. It rhymes with table, fable, or even cable.
Oh my God. So I've been mispronouncing it for 15 years because he was on the program all those years ago. It's Jim Nabel. I'm sorry for enabling that mispronouncing of your name, Jim. Anywho, we have our Wretched Pun of Destiny coming up. We have our Colorado Limerick of the Damned coming up. We've even got our Greeley Crimes of Old Times segment to do, and of course, our Today, Yesterday quiz. But before all of that, we're gonna get holidaysical, we're gonna get fun, we're gonna get Jewish too, because Rabbi Sal Solomon is waiting in the wings to talk to our very special guest who will be in the Daverhood with us. She is a doctor, but not an MD. She is a comedian, she is a writer, she is a public speaker. She is someone named Susan Horowitz, except we like to think of her as Dr. Sue. Let's get the fun started in a very positive way.
Suddenly there's you, and I, shining like the moon. Somehow you came through. Suddenly there's you. All at once I feel so strange, can't believe my world can change. Everything can rearrange.
And suddenly we are here with a very special guest on this morning Shabbos, ladies and gentlemen. This Shabbos just before Hanukkah. Oh my God, I am delighted and excited to be talking here. By the way, I am Rabbi Sal Solomon, founder and spiritual leader of Temple Sons of Bitches in Great Neck, New York. And I have done theater and I've written songs and things, but this woman here has written shows for family audiences and regular ones too. She's a comedian, a songwriter, a playwright, a lyricist, an English professor, a motivational speaker, and an author. She's author, by the way, of a book that we will talk about where she interviewed legendary comedians. And, although she herself is not bear, she usually carries a bear with her. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome at the bottom of your screens, Dr. Sue Horowitz. Shalom, Dr. Sue.
Shalom, shalom, shalom. So nice to be here. I heard that song playing and I said, oh my God, what is it? It sounds so familiar. And then I realized it was me.
Yes, senility is kicking in early, I guess. You don't recognize yourself immediately?
You didn't tell me you were going to play it. And I hear this song, Suddenly There's You. And I mean, you didn't tell me you're going to play my song. And I'm hearing it and I'm like, wait a minute, that's my song.
It's a surprise. By the way, is there a way you can angle?
Great surprise.
Now, the thing is, are you like when they saved Hitler's head or something like that? Is there a way to see a little bit more of your...
No, wait a minute. It's the tilt of the Zoom. So let me see if I can fix that. Just a moment.
Oh,
I know what I will try to do. Or
you can just sit like you're sitting now, so you take up a little more.
What I can do is I can just tilt it like that. How's that?
There you go. Now you look like a person, not just a disembodied scalp.
These Zoom things make me crazy. There we go.
Oh, look at that. There we go. And I love your background. It's very winter autumnal, if that's a word.
Yeah, you know what that is? That's a beautiful impressionist painting of winter. And one of the things I started to do is post singing Shakespearean virtual art videos. So from the National Museum of Art, this woman, very nice woman, she found me on Facebook and she said, oh, we would love you to put your video, your art blog on our site. And yeah, that was very exciting. I was very happy and excited. So she sent me by email attachments and paintings. And I thought, well, this would make a really nice background. This kind of soft winter scene. And that's what you're looking at. You're looking at a real painting by an American.
I have to say that like Monet and Matisse, the one thing their teachers told them is always make a good impression.
Yes, that's right.
Make it a little comedy there, little humor right there. So anyway, we have a question for you there. What was your question? Oh, that's right. I'm still on the feed here. I forgot to change my name on the thing. I'm going to rename myself the name of the program. So people aren't confused that this is, I'm Rabbi Sal, Dave is the host of the program. So it is good to talk with you, Dr. Sue. So Dr. Sue, have you been tested? Are you healthy? Are you safe? By the way, I'm talking about herpes now, not, no.
Oh, really? I didn't know we were going to get poisonal. We're going to get
they're very personal. We talk about everything.
By Ruth Bader Ginsburg, poisonal poils, see?
Oh, very nice.
Yes. Very nice. I was so thrilled that her pearls became fashionable in a political statement. I mean, so you can see how I like to dress. I like the pearls. I like the scarf. I like that kind of thing.
For me, in the Orthodox community, what's happening is that Rudolph Giuliani's hair dye is now becoming a fashion statement. So if you go to the Verbrengen, if you go to the shuls, as I think, because they love Giuliani, they love Trump, they're putting the hair dye in, and during the services, which take like 4 hours, they're just letting it drip, and then it's wonderful.
Oh my God, that is amazing. That is, what a fashion statement.
Isn't it?
A fashion statement that's a drip. It's a crazy thing.
But are you, have you been healthy? Have you gotten the corona?
I'm perfectly healthy. I don't get sick.
Toy.
Yeah, exactly. Thank God. When I go into any indoor place, I wear a mask. I am 100% compliant. I'm not rude to people. You know, I go in, I wear my mask, and I wash my hands a lot, and I don't go into crowds. I never go into crowds. The idea of crowding together, I say, stay at home, pray at home. God hears you, your neighbor doesn't have to.
This is good. I like this. I like this all. I'm so cautious. I wear a mask, gloves, and a condom when I'm in a crowd.
At all times, because you never know who's going to show up.
Never know. Absolutely never. So if you were to describe yourself with one word, because you do so many different things, what is like the number one thing? Is it the speaker? Is it the writer? Is it the entertainer? What are you, Dr. Sue Horowitz?
I would say creative. It's kind of multimedia creativity, because I like to do a lot of different things, and you know, the form it takes is flexible. It takes different forms, but I just love to be creative. I like to think out of the box. I like to think, if they say, well, you can't do it, or it's that thing, I like to say, maybe it can also be that other thing too. You know, maybe, you know, that's like when COVID hit. Because I don't know how you found me, but a lot of people, because of the playwright thing and the theater thing, as soon as that hit, and this was back in March, I immediately said, we are not going to have live theater for a long time. And I am just going to do virtual stuff. I am going to do song videos, comedy videos. I'm going to get on that internet. I'm going to do that. I'm not going to worry about things that are not happening. I am going to jump into what is happening immediately.
Now, let me ask, speaking of jumping in, so you're a motivational speaker a lot, but you've also done straight stand-up comedy. Is that true?
I did, but you know what? I'll tell you the truth.
Tell you
the truth, as opposed to telling you lies.
Lie to me. Sure.
You know, whenever people say, I'll tell you the truth, or I'll be honest, or honestly, I'm like, well, what do you do the rest of the time?
Yeah, well, before you just said that, what bullshit were you screwing in my ear? I was, now you're going to be honest with me. Okay, sure, go ahead.
No, I've done comedy, and I like to be funny. I don't know if you see any of my posts or my funny songs, you know, but I do like to be funny. But the stand-up comedy world is very rough.
Oh, yeah.
It's a rough world, and honestly, it's too rough for me. It's too rough. It's
I tried. I got raped, so it was very.
Literally.
No, it wasn't clitoral. I don't have a clitoris. I've got my normal parts down there. But no, so it is, you know, it's dog eat dog. And
yes, dog eat dog. And very often, and the idea that being, I can't help it when I talk, the English teacher in me comes out. The idea that being gratuitously nasty is funny.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Yeah,
to me,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, the idea that being gratuitously, like being mean for no reason. I mean, I've stood in line, you know, waiting to go on stage in these comedy clubs, and some guy, I didn't even know him. I didn't know this guy. He calls out something nasty to me, and I'm like, I don't know you. Why are you picking on me? And I guess he's picking on me because, you know, I'm a woman. He thinks he can get away with it. And I'm like, I don't necessarily want to be part of this world.
So was he doing that from the stage as part of the act, or was he just there behind you also waiting to go on and just being a jerk?
Sometimes they're behind, you know, sometimes they're online. And one of them, I heard it on stage, you know, from the stage. Yeah. You know, and you know, that was where I made my mistake, because from my academic background, so I was used to sitting in the front, you know, to get the professor's attention, you know, to study, you know, that, whatever. But that was a mistake when I went to those comedy clubs. Oh boy, did I discover that was a mistake.
They sat in the front and they targeted you.
Of course they targeted me. And I didn't even dress like this. I didn't wear the pearls. I didn't wear the scarf. I didn't dress like, you know, like this matron. I dressed, you know, like everybody dresses, you know, in a t-shirt or, you know, whatever was the style.
Yeah.
But, you know, you could take one look and say, oh, that's my target. That looks a little bit like mom, and I am going to pick on her.
Well, but if it's from the stage, I'm sorry, but all's fair. If they were doing it off stage and just being jerky to you to try and get over on you, but if they're on stage and trying to get the audience and do the act and they see you there, it may be nasty, but they're going to go. They're gonna go right at you.
No. And that's how I learned to sit in the back.
All right, but you just
I learned to
that
sit back.
whole seat.
This is the deal. Sit in the back. Yep.
But it wasn't for you. You decided that.
No, more credit to the people who can do it. I'm just not that tough. I'm not that tough. I like to be funny and I like to sing, and that's kind of more my ballpark.
Now, when did you start writing not just songs, but you've written a couple of musicals? Tell us about these.
Yes,
yeah, please.
I would, actually, I love talking to you. I could come back again and again and just chat with you.
Let's see what kind of a guest you are before I make any promises. You might end up boring me to tears.
What's in that cup? Best rabbi ever. What's in that cup? Who said that?
Oh, by the way, the congregation seems to be asking for a duet on this. So we'll see if we can do it.
Well, in Zoom, there's a time delay. I don't really know if you can do that. I think you have to take turns.
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know how they do this because they have all these benefits and these things you can watch where all the musicians sing live together, or they've got a couple. How do they do that?
When they do that, yes, they have special technology for that.
Oh, I was wondering. Yeah.
They have special. You can, if to have sound from two places come on at the same time, you need special technology. If you're going to take turns, I actually wrote a take turn song, because I thought about this Zoom, and I wrote this song. The words are really simple, deliberately simple. And it was so that it could be, we could sing it taking turns. And it's called Friends Are Soul Food.
Friends are soul food. Can you sing, not to put you on the spot, but I'm going to put you on the spot. Can you just sing a little a cappella of this? Friends Are Soul Food? Oh, yeah.
A cappella, because otherwise I got to handle the computer and the keyboard, and you can't. It's just a lot.
Are you not going to do it?
It's easier, but I will sing that one verse.
Sing the voice.
Okay. Friends are soul food. Friends are soul food. Sing a song, I'll sing along, and we'll make harmony. Friends are soul food. Friends are soul food. Let me show you how I care. Oh, won't you sing with me?
That is very nice and very true in these. Is that from a show, or is that? No, you said you wrote it just off the cuff.
Yeah, I wrote it because I wanted to write. I wanted to write a simple song about friendship and singing.
Well, let me ask. We kind of got diverged from your talking about like the first musical you wrote. We're trying to actually write a whole show rather than individual cabaret type songs.
Okay, so here's the advantage of writing a whole show. You can write a lot of songs. You can write a lot of stuff. Plus, you've got a story. And there's a challenge because nowadays, the idea with musical theater is that all the songs should move the plot forward. And you'll hear some people say, yeah, all the songs should move the plot forward. But actually, that is not traditionally the case, because those big hit songs that came out of musicals, they were part of the show, but they could also have an independent life. And I like to write, some of my songs, they move that story forward, and some of them are characters. They talk to each other, and by the end of the story, the end of the song, they're in a different place than they were at the beginning of the song. And that is a musical theater song.
Right.
So a song, like that, I can do that. I know what that is. And that's a theater song. It moves the action. But also, you can have a song that can be in the show, but also can have an independent life. Or what I do, because I'm kind of a waste not, want not type of girl, what I'll do is I'll write the song for the show. And then if I really like it, if I like the music, maybe I'll tweak the lyric a little bit so that it can also have an independent life.
Well, actually, when I write musicals, I put in songs that move the story backward. When the song is over, the audience has no idea what the hell's going on. They're following a character. Now the character is suddenly completely different. I'm like, okay, and now let's get back to it. I just do that, And I'm also a waste not Okay, I'm Jewish, of course I'm not wasting away.
Not exactly.
I mean, I have jugs of urine in the garage just because I will not wait. Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. What's good urine? You know, I don't collect it when I'm sick. Just when I'm
Let me ask you a question.
Yes.
What were you thinking of using it for?
Well, I haven't gotten that far yet.
Well,
It's
actually,
part of my master
I
plan.
know the answer to that question.
Oh, please, what?
I happen to know the answer to that question, weird as it may seem.
Tell me.
Okay, so one thing I like to do is go to museums, and I wear my mask, of course, but I love to go to museums. And at the Museum of Natural History, they have a special exhibit on the nature of color, and they talked about indigo. Indigo is one of the earliest color dyes, and indigo, it's a plant. It's a natural plant. It's one of the oldest dyes, and when it's in its natural form, it looks kind of green like most plants. But if you boil it up in a big vat and you treat it with something, when it comes out into the air, it turns blue, indigo blue. And guess what they treat it with?
Borscht. No, wait, no, it wasn't borscht. No. With pea? They treat indigo with pea? Wow. You ain't
probably not anymore, but they used to,
Okay.
because nitrous oxide and the chemical interacting with the plant, when they bring it back out into the air, you'd get this blue color. And it was a major dye that was traded all around the world. And at one point in the slave trade, the transatlantic slave trade, excuse me again, you know, it's my academic background. The transatlantic slave trade was fueled not only by cotton and sugar, but indigo.
Indigo, and the French painters used it a lot, which is why if you see a French painting that you like, you go, oui, oui. But you know, we're talking to Dr. Sue. Dr. Sue, making a noise.
That's funny, yeah.
Dr. Sue is talking with us. By the way, while we have you, and you're staying for the quiz, I hope. You're going to stick around.
Well, I'm not going to participate. I can just watch. I'm not good at trivia.
Well, you don't have to be good.
I don't know stuff. I watched your guys doing that trivia, and they knew all this stuff, and I didn't know it. So I'm not going to do it. I'll just watch it. Maybe I'll make little remarks.
Well, or you physically will still want to be on camera while the thing is going. You kind of want to be a commentator.
But I don't think I should do the trivia because I don't think I know anything.
You seem to know quite much, Doctor. You seem to you know about indigo dye being mixed with pea, and you think you're not going to know the answer to trivia questions. So, you know about French Impressionist painters. Yeah, that was one of the. I got to cross that one right off. Let me tell you. But let me ask you also a little bit about your book, Queens of Comedy.
Yeah.
Yeah. You put out a book because you were able to interview four legendary, funny women. Tell us about this book that you wrote. Yeah.
Yes, I wrote Queens of Comedy, and the original title was actually the title of my PhD dissertation, and the original title was Funny Women, a Study in Female Comedic Personae.
All right.
And I was very proud of that title. And I went in to my dissertation advisor. I thought I was very clever that I came up with this idea and that title. And my dissertation advisor said to me, Miss Horowitz, you spelled it wrong.
Wait a minute. So
I spelled it wrong. It's supposed to be, apparently, she was very good at spelling, unlike me. It's supposed to be P-E-R-S-O-N-A-E. And I spelled it wrong. And she thought, I said, fine, let's fix it. She was a very good advisor because she was tough. And she was very good at those little details, spelling and footnotes and getting all that stuff right. And I'm not that good. I'm not that interested in it.
Who is? Who the hell is? Oh, let's go into those footnotes.
Yeah, I was. In fact, I didn't even do correct. My footnotes were not correct.
No, that's the problem. You cannot have that.
I don't think I ever wrote but you know, she made me do it, and you have to do it to pass. I was interested in all these sort of creative connections and God knows what. But she made me get all those details right, and I passed, and I got the degree.
What was, you know, you're trying to prove something with a doctoral dissertation. So what were you proving about women in comedy? What was your thesis?
Okay, so my thesis is that there's a kind of triangular balance of power of comic appeal, sex appeal, and look at you.
I'm there for 2 out of 3. What's the third?
Yeah, comic appeal, sex appeal, and a kind of a power projected in the world, like you know, like money and stuff. I'll give you an example.
Let
me give you an example, because you know, this is a dissertation, so I had my thing. Plus, I interviewed all these super famous people, which that was a story in itself. So,
and that's the story we're going to be talking about in a moment or two.
But
talk a little bit more about this.
So Joan Rivers, for example, she said Joan Rivers was one smart cookie.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, very smart. And she was very nice to me. People are surprised because she had this very bitchy persona on stage, but in person, she was very nice to me. Anyway, she said, if I say that I have no sex appeal, then it's okay with the audience that I get up there in $200 shoes. And I thought, wow, that lady, she is smart. And that is the thesis of my book. You know, she's basically saying, I can balance it. If I say I have no sex appeal, and look how much comic appeal I have, everybody is laughing at me. And look how I'm showing off my wardrobe and my fancy shoes and this and that. It's just too much. An audience cannot accept it. They become envious and resentful. So therefore, since I'm going to stand up there, and she dressed to the nines. I mean, she dressed very well when she was on stage. She didn't dress like some poor comic. She dressed like a wealthy upper middle class matron. She dressed very well. And as a matter of fact, she was not unattractive. She was as attractive as she could be. She always said she was unattractive. She always said she had no sex appeal. But in fact, she was attractive. You know, she was quite attractive. She was attractive. You know,
attractive when her face was down here and when it was up there. She was going on both ways. But the thing is, so what you're saying is that
reasonably attractive. She wasn't Marilyn Monroe, but she was reasonably attractive.
But in terms of the women thing, so you're saying that there cannot be an was isosceles all three angles the same? So it can't be isosceles triangle. It's got to be scalene, because one angle has to be off kilter. They can't be beautiful, well and funny.
You know, when you say scalene triangle, you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of that Dolly Parton song, Jolene.
Scalene. Oy, my throat there.
No, Jolene, please don't take me, man, just because you can. Now, as a matter of fact, now that you're bringing up the subject, it completely, not that you brought it up, I brought it up, but who cares? Okay. So now that you bring up, or I brought up, the subject, Jolene actually completely supports my thesis, because there's Dolly Parton. My God, she's got this blonde wig, she's got this huge bazooms, she's dressed to the nines.
Wait.
And
I never noticed. I never go. I gotta look at some pictures of her. I never noticed. Really, she's got. Go figure.
I know.
She's got the imagery. She's got the physical presence like that of the trappings of a beautiful woman, if you will.
That's right. And in fact, it's cartoony. It is to the point of being cartoony. I mean, you can hardly believe it's real. So anyway, so there she is with her big wig, her fancy expensive clothes, her big bazooms. And what is she singing? She's singing, Jolene, you're so beautiful. Please don't take my man just because you can. And we're all sympathizing with Dolly Parton because she's not pretty enough to keep her man. She's worried that Jolene, whoever she is going to take her. Take the guy.
How does that fit the triangle theory? How does that fit the idea?
Because there she's got her sex appeal.
Right.
She's got her talent appeal. In this case, it isn't comic appeal, but it's talent appeal. She's got sex appeal, talent appeal. She can sing, by the way, very nicely and play that guitar and write those songs. She's got a lot of talent appeal. She's got talent appeal. She's got sex appeal. So what about that third part? Should she also have appeal on that? No, it's too much. She has to sing about how she's worried that Jolene is going to take her man.
I mean, that is just one song, but in a lot of her songs, she's kind of the down-home country girl. That's sort of what she's playing. She's not this fabulously wealthy Grand Ole Opry, Dollywood star. So Jolene is just one number, but in a lot of her numbers, it's kind of like, oh, I remember my old Appalachian home. So
yeah, right. I was poor, we grew up poor, but we had. She's not going to sing, oh, I am so gorgeous and I see your man and I'm going to take him just because I can.
Well, have the rap women finally upended that triangle? Can the rap stars do that now? Because they can be talented, they can show off their bling, and they can be really front forward like the men.
Well, wow. Well, you're getting into the area of rap, and I'm wearing my Ruth Bader Ginsburg foils. I am not exactly a rap expert.
Oh, like I am.
But for quite a while, those rap women, when you had the rap male artists, they were front and center, and then the women were these sort of decorative, sexy arm candy. That was
nothing wrong with that. But okay, continue.
What were you? So you want to be arm candy? This is your goal. You want to be arm candy. It's true, you do.
I definitely want to be arm. I'll be leg candy. You can put me as candy anywhere. I'm fine. I can be elbow candy.
We all want that. All these smart people. What do we want? We want to be arm candy. Professor Horowitz, I think of you as arm candy.
Speaking of
my goal to be arm candy.
Why not? Come on, let's face it. The smart people want to be beautiful. It's the old song.
Hey.
The rich people want what the poor people got, and the poor people want what the skinny people got. Nobody's happy with what they got. Everybody wants to be the other thing that they're not. He wants to be a painter. He's one of the best singers ever. Nah, I want people to appreciate my painting. It's kind of like
that's right. We all want to be. Well, we're not, and we think that somehow it's somehow better. It's not, but that's the tendency. Well, we were talking about my musicals, and then I wound up having to talk about raps. What do I know about that?
Well, we'll get back to the musicals, but I do want to hear about stories of interviewing people like Joan Rivers. These legends that you talk. Who else is in the Lucille Ball? Right? You talk to her? No.
Yes. Yeah. So
Lucille Ball story.
How I got the interview, or you want to hear about the actual interview, or both, or whatever,
Yeah, no, something interesting, something funny, something we don't know about Lucy.
Oh, about Lucy. Okay, now
Lucy Ordez has
not about me. Not about me, but about Lucy.
Oh yeah,
you want to know about
life. She's dead. Tell me about her.
All right, we'll talk about her. Why Lucy? Why not me? I'm alive. She's dead. Why are they interested in her? And she has a lot of attention. Do I have as much attention as Lucille Ball? No, I do not have as much attention as Lucille Ball. But they want to talk about Lucille Ball and not me. But I'll do it because I know what low-level cads they are. Okay, so we will talk about Lucille Ball. Here's one of the interesting things about Lucille Ball is that she made her huge success playing this character, Lucy Ricardo, who is, of course, very far from the real Lucille Ball. Lucy Ricardo was this kind of dizzy, inept housewife without any talent trying to get into show business. That was her character, okay? Lucille Ball had already been in show business for at least 20 years. She was the queen of the B movies. She was, she was beautiful. She was tough. She had her husband, Desi Arnaz, a Latin husband that CBS told her the American public would never accept, but of course they accepted him very well. And she was playing this kind of ditzy, confused character. She was not ditzy. She was not confused. She was really smart. And even though, you know, I went in there interviewing her as a reporter, I got a magazine assignment. So she knew that whatever she said to me would be easily in print. You know, I didn't go as just like a fan. I went in as a reporter. So she was, of course, disposed to be nice to me. And she was nice to me. They were all very nice to me. But you could hear once or twice when something, you know, catch her up, you could hear that edge of toughness in her voice. I mean, you could hear it. Oh, and something else that now I'm just reminded of now. Because of course, playing that Lucy Ricardo, living in a crummy apartment, no education, no whatever. As we're doing the interview, because I did the interview in her apartment that she owned in New York City, and hanging on the wall was a Monet.
Whoa.
Yep, so brings us right back to that painting hanging on the wall.
Yeah.
Me virtually hanging on the wall was a Monet, and I certainly knew better than to ask, is that an original?
I'll bet it wasn't. I'll bet she had the original.
Ask that question.
And she put that up there just to impress people, but no, the real Monet.
No, she put it up because she owned a Monet. You know, if I was Lucille Ball, I might own a Monet, and she certainly did. And she was very nice. I mean, she gave me, I came in, it was a pouring rain day, and my taxi didn't know how to get to her address. Thank God I did, or I wouldn't have shown up. I mean, thank God. My taxi driver didn't speak English, and it was a thunderstorm. I thought, oh my God, this is the most important interview of my life. This is Lucille Ball, and my taxi driver cannot get me there. But fortunately, we got there.
And California or New York? Where did this take place?
It was in New York.
Was she doing? How long ago was this? Why was she in New York?
Well, she was in New York because the Museum of Television and Radio, which is now called the Paley Center, I believe, was holding a special, what do you call it? Not a panel, because she was the only one, but she was on stage and she was being interviewed on stage. It was a
retrospective and kind of a, yeah, I get it. So, let me ask you, by the way, we're talking with Dr. Sue Horowitz, who wrote this book called Queens of Comedy. And even though we want to talk about you, Dr. Sue, it is also interesting that in the book you talk to Carol Burnett and Phyllis Diller. So, and we mentioned Lucy and Joan Rivers. So do you have a Carol Burnett or a Phyllis Diller story to share?
Well, of course, because of course I met them all. In fact, not only did I meet them, but we had these long personal interviews, and I have audio recordings of all the interviews. Not only the book, but I have those audio recordings. So in their own voice, you can hear them give advice about comedy. You know, it's really something special.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and anyway, so yeah, I interviewed them all, and what was, the thing that I think I really impressed me. Part of it, they were all very kind to me. They were nice to me. The only people who were ever unprofessional or unkind when I was doing all these interviews were people who were not so successful, and they sometimes gave me trouble. But
name names. Tell me. Come on. No. Yes.
No. Like a comedy routine. No. Yes.
All right.
Anyway, so I have to say something because I know it's confusing. My real name is Susan Horowitz. And the Dr. Sue is kind of like my stage name. Because, and I'll tell you why. It's very simple. Just so many people named Susan, and so many people named Susan Horowitz, that people could not find me. I didn't even know if they were talking to me. They'd say Susan. I'd turn around and it wasn't me. So I decided, I needed a name that was cute and catchy and was a little bit different. So Dr. Sue, and I am a doctor.
And you are a doctor, indeed. That's, although you would not look at my carbuncle, which I found upsetting.
God.
diagnostic
not.
or aspirin or anything. It was just
Oh, no.
made me mad a little bit. I mean, you went to Yale Drama School, didn't you?
I did, yes.
Wow. I am very. What did you learn there? What did they actually? The most important thing they taught you in Yale. Oh, they let a Jewess into Yale. Whoa. What did you?
The Jewess was not the problem. I never had any Jewish problems at Yale. But I was at Yale. I was in the drama school, of course, studying to be an actress. And there I was. But I had come out of University of Chicago. You know University of Chicago?
I don't know it, but I've heard of it. It's a university. It happens to be in Chicago. It's a good name for it.
University of Chicago is this very intellectual school.
Oh.
And they teach you critical thinking. In other words, you hear something, you analyze it, and you figure out what you really think of it. That's what they teach you at the university.
This is what they should be teaching at all universities, but all right, yeah.
That's what they teach at U of C. So there I am at Yale Drama School. I did the audition as an actress. I never thought I'd get in. I did it, but, I had no training. I didn't know anything. I did that audition for Yale. And I remember, because I had no acting training, nothing. And my mother coached me. And then I was originally going to do that scene. There's a scene from Chekhov's Cherry Orchard.
Yes, as opposed to Mervyn Finkelstein's Cherry Orchard, which people don't know, but is almost as good. But
almost as good.
Orchard, yeah.
Almost as good. And a middle-aged woman looks out at all these cherry trees and blossom, and she thinks about her life, my life, my cherry orchard. And my mother said, I think it should go something like this. And then she did it. And she was so good. And I looked at her and I realized, of course, my mother could have been an actress. And I realized that I should not do that scene.
Oh.
I realized that was a bad choice for me.
Well, you were too young. You were 22 or something, yeah.
Exactly. I was the wrong age and I shouldn't do it. I should do something else. As soon as I saw her do that, I realized. And that was a very important thing to realize, because then I picked some other material, You went
to Yale Drama School. So again, what is if you could pinpoint one thing that a director told you or a professor told you there about acting, about living, about anything?
Well, I'm trying to remember. Let's see. They did teach us the method. You know what the method is? You know what the acting method is?
Kind of, but explain it for everybody. So I can't believe that.
The acting method is that when you're playing a part, you're playing a character, and you should find something in your own life that you can relate to, that somehow connects with this situation. And that's what you should play. So you should play the personal truth of that moment, of that character. And that's what you're playing, using the character and the words of the playwright. That's essentially the method, or as far as I remember it, that's the method. So that is, if listen, what I just told you could save yourself thousands of dollars on a Yale education. If any of your viewers want to act, you could do that. That's the method. I've never done it, but I could actually coach people, because there was a young lady, she was trying to get into, and a friend of mine was, kind of teaching her or something. She was trying to get into the NYU theater program, and she had these monologues prepared. So my friend said, would you mind taking a look? I said, okay. So she did it for me, and as soon as she did it, I knew she made the wrong choice of material. I told her, don't do that. You pick some other material. Let's go find some better material for you. Just like when I saw my mother do it, I could see it was the wrong material. But she had the disadvantage of paying a coach, and the coach gave her bad advice. I had the advantage of not paying any coach, so I didn't have to listen to any bad advice.
Well, I mean, your friend's name was Myra Horowitz, and she was doing a scene from when colored girls, when the rainbow is enough. It just didn't really, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You have to know where you are. You have to know kind of who and when I say this, it's not like I always knew this, because I made plenty of mistakes. But you have to try to figure out who are the players and what is the mission and what's the agenda and how do you kind of do that. None of which I figured out when I went to Yale. But I did, apparently, I must have done a good addition because I got in.
We have just a couple more minutes, so I'm going to ask a whole bunch of things, which I don't have time to do. But I guess, speaking of players and mistakes, you're single. How's that going?
Very well.
Is there a?
I'm in COVID. I'm actually fine. I hear, a lot of people, unfortunately, I'm sympathetic with them. They're having a hard time. And partly I'm sympathetic because, of course, some people have it much worse than me. If you have health problems, if you have economic problems, it's really, really rough. But sometimes the things that make them unhappy is like, I read these postings on Facebook. Someone posted, she was so unhappy. It's my 65th birthday, and I want to go out for a lobster dinner and champagne. And I thought, this is what's bothering you? This is your problem?
Well, you know what? I mean, we can make fun of that and say, oh, well, at least she's got the money to do that. She's all right. But at the same time, she might have thought, my 65th, you only get this once in a lifetime. And that's all she wants to do, and she can't do it. So we can make fun, but at the same time, this was a thing for her. And who knows what her other problems are and what else she can't do every single day because of the pandemic.
You're a rabbi. You're trained to be compassionate.
I'm not.
Dear Rabbi, in your expertise as a rabbi, I would like to ask you about.
Yes.
Yeah, I would like to ask you about that lobster dinner. Lobster
oh my God. You just have to use margarine instead of butter because that makes it more kosher. But other than that, I'm fine with a lobster. Let me also ask you, Dr. Sue, we still have you. So, but you're not quite alone. I mean, you're single, but
no, I can't claim to be alone. I'm very connected. First of all, I'm very connected to my friends through phone calls, and my best dear friend comes and visits me, and we have dinner together, and I go out to parks, and I go out to museums, and
But even then, you don't go alone because you have
but I don't sit all by myself.
But there's a friend that you bring with you. Man, this is tough.
Oh yes.
Yes.
I know who you mean. Just a minute.
Yes, help me out here.
To see my friend on camera, you have to wait a moment because I have to get my friend.
Go get your friend. I'll tell people.
I'll get my friend. I'll be right back.
We'll do that. All right. We've been talking with Dr. Sue, or her other name is Susan Horowitz, by her book. It's called Queens of Comedy, based on interviews with Lucille Ball, Carol Burnett, Joan Rivers, and Phyllis Diller. Also, go to drsue.com, DRSUE.com, because this is the place where you can watch her videos that she posts on YouTube, hear her songs, see bits of her comedy and her motivational speaking, and just fun, nice ways of getting through this time. There we go. There it is. Shalom. Hello. What,
Hello.
Yeah. This is your friend Ted Lee, I do believe.
Yes, hello. I am Ted Lee.
Hello, Ted Lee. Shalom. So, Ted Lee, how did you come about?
Well,
Ted
Lee, I needed a friend in COVID. This was the early days, when things were really very hard. I must say, back in April and May, things were really hard in New York. I was in the epicenter of the pandemic, and things were really rough, and we were scared. And there was all this disease out there. And then, you know, we had the protests that were taken over, and there were looters, and they were smashing windows in Midtown Manhattan. Not only Midtown, I was in a walk. I would go out to the park, you know, and it's sunset, and then just 15 minutes walk from me, they're smashing windows and looting and coming into my neighborhood. I'm not saying the legitimate protesters were doing this. I am saying there were plenty of people infiltrating those protests and doing this stuff, and there's all this stuff going on, and it was rough. It was rough in those days. Things have gotten better since, and I'm laughing now, but you know, things, you know, they're things, you know, they were rough.
But how did the bear?
I wanted to go out, and then I wanted to go, you know, I wanted to go to museums, I wanted to go to places, I wanted to go to parks, and then I got this idea of, you know, walking around in the park, and I needed a companion, and I couldn't have a human companion because, you know, everybody was contagious. So then I remembered, Tedley, set me free. I remember Tedley was, you know, up in my closet. I remember I had this teddy bear.
Well, you know, some bears are in the closet, especially if you're in the village. But, you know, I don't know what that means. So hold Tedley right there, because we're going to play a little bit more of your music, and then we're going to let in our guest to play the Today, Yesterday quiz with the producer of this program, Dave. He will be conducting that quiz. So you, Tedley, can kind of dance to the music here that we're going to play. It's another song by our guest, Dr. Sue. Let's do something holidaysical with her for Happy Hanukkah Christmas multicultural holiday song.
When I was a child, my school had a dream. It was perfect for Christmas. As for Jews, there was me. So I sang about Jesus and tried to belong. Today, here's my holiday song. There's all kinds of people. Why make a fuss? Happy Kwanzaa and Eid. Happy Hanukkah Christmas. Feliz Navidad. Happy Hanukkah Christmas. Now I'm diverse. I live in New York. I eat holiday meals with chopsticks and fork. I light Hanukkah candles, give dreidels a spin, sing White Christmas by Irving Berlin. There's all kinds of people. Why make a fuss? Happy birthday of Buddha. Happy Hanukkah Christmas. Feliz Navidad. Happy Hanukkah Christmas. Jolly old Santa is making his calls, and Hanukkah honey is decking my halls. I hang Mardi Gras beads on an evergreen too. I'm not pure, but for sure I'm a Jew. There's all kinds of people. Why make a fuss? Diwali and solstice. Happy Hanukkah Christmas. Feliz Navidad. Happy Hanukkah Christmas.
Little bit of music there from Susan Horowitz, aka Dr. Sue, with us in the Daverhood here on this Saturday, December 5th, 2020. It is our 775th episode. We're calling it Sue Me, because Sue is here with us and her friend Tedley the bear that is getting her through the pandemic. Now, also with us, now, and we're former president of somebody turn down your computer there. Thanks. But David Sheward.
Can I add something?
Oh, yes, please, yeah.
Yeah, okay, because I think this is important.
Oh, sure.
What you're playing is my original version of the song. And I changed the chorus, because the original version of the chorus was Happy Hanukkah Christmas. So what happened with this, to my surprise, I found that some people were offended by that word, Chanu Christmas. I mean, I thought it was, an innocent little song, But I found that my Orthodox cousins, they did not like Chanu Christmas. In fact, they said, they wrote to me, they said, we love Susan, we love you, but we don't like that song. And I thought about it, and then that was an unexpected surprise to me. And I was thinking about that. And I thought, gee, gosh, I wonder if some of the Christians are not going to like Chanu Christmas anyway. And how important is it to the song anyway? So I changed the chorus. I made a few minor changes in the verses, but I changed the chorus. And the chorus now in my latest version on YouTube, which I hope you will look for, I have a YouTube channel, youtube.com/Dr. Sue Comedian, or you could go into youtube.com and look up Dr. Sue Positive Entertainment.
Sure.
And
did you change the lyric?
I changed the lyric. Yeah. So the chorus goes, may peace in the world fly like a dove. May all of us celebrate all that we love.
Oh.
Peace in the world, fly like a dove. All of us celebrate all that we love.
It's not as cute, but it rhymes in a song. And honestly, I will be honest. When I was younger, I would have been offended, honestly, by that linking together of two holidays. Because if you're Jewish, you do, it's a very separate thing. We're not celebrating Hanukkah and Christmas. So I thank you for doing that. I know you don't understand why the Orthodox would be so upset, because it's just holidays getting together. But those holidays are really not supposed to be together. And so I thank you for doing that, honestly.
Yes, but what I did is I said, look, it's not that important. And there is I can make the solution to this.
Yeah.
And I think that actually the story of making the solution to this is the message of the song.
And if you're dealing with Jews, it's important to keep in mind the final solution. So there you go. I don't even know what that means. But
Oh, dear. Oh, dear.
yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. That's David Sheward, by the way. As we mentioned, I can give you a full proper introduction. He is the blogger of thedaviddesk.com. He's also a writer for theatercircle.com and culturalweekly.com. Did I get them all? I got them.
You're lucky.
Wow.
How are you doing, Dave? Are you still... You're teaching in New York City? Are the kids there? Are they not there? What's happening over there?
We're all teaching. We're teaching remote. The younger kids are going back to school next week, but middle and high school, we don't know what's going to happen. The younger kids are going back.
So you're physically going to be in a classroom on Monday, right? Or not?
No, I'm going to be in my home. I teach high school, so high school is still remote. The younger students, primary grades, are going back on Monday.
Cool. Well, I mean, I don't know what the hell.
If their parents choose, you can still choose between one or the other.
I thought the New York Teachers Union was supposed to be like this big monster conglomerate thing that'd be smashing de Blasio with a hammer. Are they doing anything? I mean, how do you guys feel about all of that? I mean, you get to be home teaching remote. It's fine by you. But
yes.
How's everyone doing, I'm wondering.
What do you mean?
Well, in other words, are the teachers, are they going to be ordered back in January or?
Well, it's you can, if you have a medical, if you're over the age of 65, if you have a medical underlying condition, you can apply for an exemption and stay home and teach remotely.
Cool. I think that's fair. Yeah.
And the rest of us, we are in the building. And previously, it had been the kids were divided into 3 different cohorts, and they would, a third the population, my school, a third the population was in the school at any one time. And that was just the ones that elected to come in person. So there were only a few hundred kids in the school at any one time. So there were, and it's interesting. Usually at this time of year, I've had at least 2 or 3 colds during normal times. And now, because I'm wearing a mask all the time, and I have less contact with the kids, I haven't had a cold.
That is so interesting. I heard someone else say that. He said he always gets a November cold, but this year he did not.
Yeah,
So you didn't get colds.
Yeah, it's because we're wearing a mask all the time, and and there are fewer kids
and things like that too. But I'm glad you guys are both healthy. I'm glad you guys are both doing okay. Now here's the deal. I'm going to throw this open to Dr. Sue one more time. I'm going to give you the option to play our today yesterday game, or do you want to hang? By the way,
because I don't think I'm good at that stuff. So I'll just watch and sort of cheer people on.
All right.
Okay.
So, David, I'm afraid you're alone then on this game.
All right.
Because Leslie Kent called in earlier and said she couldn't.
Yes, I saw.
Yeah, you're so good. So she texted both.
Okay.
So it's
All
not
right.
really much of a. It'll be more like, hey, you're taking a quiz from me, David.
Okay, fine.
Well, then it's ruining the game. Well, then I can do it, and it's okay if I don't know stuff. It's okay. I'll do it.
Yes.
Celebrate all that we love. I'll do it.
Yeah, and the thing is, what you ought to know is most of our special guests who participate in the game, and we've had musician Vince Giordano playing the game, playwright Charles Mee. We've got a few people, come in and play this game, and most of the time they get goose egg. They get 0. And so if you get nothing, it doesn't even matter. It's fine. First of all, there's no prizes. There's no anything anyway. But you would not be the first, even if you get 0 points. You would just be continuing a magnificent tradition.
Do you think Leslie didn't go on because Dr. Sue has a bear and Leslie has a bear?
Oh, also, Joyce, my wife Joyce is here, and she's saying it's very possible that Leslie was intimidated by your having a bear, a much bigger bear than she has in her apartment. She's a very bear-philic, and yeah. Oh, I just can't bear this. So here's the deal. We're going to be playing with 2 contestants, our Today, Yesterday quiz on this Saturday, December 5th, 2000.
I'm excited!
Oh, what was that?
That's Tedley.
Scary.
Yeah, he's a scary bear. He is.
Yes.
Oh, I'm not sorry.
But he's friendly. He's just his roar is scarier than his bite.
Exactly. So here's the deal. Here's the rules, because Dr. Sue you watched it once or twice, but you haven't played the game. So Dr. Sue will be playing against David Sheward. We have 2 contestants. What I will ask you guys to do, I'm going to need my little pen here, is to pick a number between 1 and 6. I'm going to let, no offense, Dave, but I'm going to let Dr. Sue, she's the guest, go first. So pick a number between 1 and 6.
Do I say it out loud?
Yes, out loud, please.
5.
So Sue is for 5, and then David, please.
4.
4. David is 4. What I'm going to do is I'm going to digitally roll a die. Now, where's my little roll a die thing? It's over here. And so here goes. And the number is 2. That is the number that came up, which means that the person closest to that number is the person who picked 4, which is Dave. So, or David, excuse me. And David, you get to choose whether you want to go first or second in the game.
I will go first.
So David gets to go first, and Dr. Sue, you get to go second, okay? So David gets the very first question of our Today, Yesterday game here on December 5th. And the point of the game is, since it's December 5th, every one of these questions are about something that happened on December 5th in history, okay?
All right.
The year 1830, premiering tonight in Paris, a musical composition whose subtitle is translated as Episode in the Life of an Artist in 5 Sections. Leonard Bernstein has said of it, quote, "It's psychedelic, you take a trip. You wind up screaming at your own funeral. Name the composer for 1 point, and this program music piece for the second point.
1830?
Oh, I will read the question again. And by the way, Dr. Sue, I just want to alert you that it's possible, although not necessarily likely, that the answer to one of these questions is Lin-Manuel Noriega. Just so you know. But
Tell her whenever she's stuck, she can say that.
whenever you're stuck, that's the thing to go with.
Okay, I'll have my own answer. Anyway.
Okay.
Well, but David gets to answer this one or try to answer first. Well, reading it. 1830 is the premiering in Paris, a musical composition whose subtitle is An Episode in the Life of an Artist in 5 Sections. Leonard Bernstein said it's psychedelic. You take a trip, you wind up screaming at your own funeral. Name this composer and this program music piece.
Vivian Bagley? No, I'm joking. Let's see. I'm going to say it's, 1830, huh?
Yeah, that is correct.
Huh. Well, and Paris. Well, that's about, the thing that leaps to mind is something called Symphonie Fantastique. And I forget who the composer of that is. And it's not Satie, he was later. And maybe it is Beethoven. That was about the time of Beethoven.
Tell him the letters.
That was about the time of Beethoven.
David, the first letter's right, but nothing else is. You have the first letter of the composer right.
What? The first letter of the composer?
You have at least the first letter of the composer.
I said Beethoven?
I'm not going to give you a hint here.
They did an off-Broadway version of his music with a hanky, a floating hanky.
Yeah, I remember that was Symphonie Fantastique.
Yep.
All right, so I'll say Symphonie Fantastique, and the composer is
my favorite.
It's not Beethoven. Maybe it was the S I said was Satie. The two names, Sanson. Okay, I'm going to say Symphonie Fantastique, Sanson. That's my guess.
That is your answer, Symphonie Fantastique, Sanson. So here's the deal. The composer was, in fact, Lin-Manuel Noriega. Now, that's partially correct, David Sheward.
Okay. Which part?
Well, you got the right. It was, in fact, Symphonie Fantastique. That was the correct answer in terms of the composition. But now, Dr. Sue, you get to steal if you know the name of the composer of that piece. You get 1 point if you get that right. So if you want, I'll read the question again. It was 1830, premiering tonight in Paris, Symphonie Fantastique, whose subtitle is translated as Episode in the Life of an Artist in 5 Sections. Leonard Bernstein said it's psychedelic. You take a trip, you wind up screaming at your own funeral.
No, you end up at a funeral.
Is that what was? And can you name? The program music piece is Symphonie Fantastique, but who was the composer?
Well, I'll tell you this. There's a great movie called Fantasia, made by Disney.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that if I can say that, I should get a point.
No. I remember Fantasia too, and there's a hippo dancing and Mickey with the bucket and doing all, but you gotta, do you know the composer of Symphonie Fantastique?
Well, if it was Sanson, I think I can spell it. Can I get a point for spelling?
That's what I guessed, and I was wrong.
Wrong. Well, then who cares? All right. If it begins with a B, it's a composer whose name begins with a B. Bubba.
It was a country music song written by Bubba. It was a Fantasia about his truck. No, I will, because Joyce also gave David the hint, I will also give you the hint that there was an off-Broadway show that used this composition, and it had floating handkerchiefs and stuff.
Yeah, I saw it.
Yeah.
This is the hint?
That's a hint. No, not helping.
By me, I'm like, it begins with a B. By me, that's not a hint.
It's not by mere Miss Duchesne.
He's French.
Oh, by mere Mr. Shane, that could be. That's a very good song.
Well, but I'm going to need a guess from you, Dr. Sue. I'm going to need you get a chance to steal if you can think of.
Bubba.
Is Bubba your final answer?
His first name was Hector. Hector.
I can't. You can't.
His name was Bubba. Bubba the Bear. It was Berlioz, the greatest composer. Berlioz.
Oh my gosh.
Ah, she got it.
Yeah, not without some coaching, but she certainly. Deb, are you okay that I give her the point for that? Because it was in fact.
Yes, I want the point because I got
Yes, but
Berlioz, the greatest
in
composer.
future we can't. Okay, we both got hints, but we can't have hints like this anymore.
Yeah, no, that's only fair. But
yes, we can. Yes, I will do that. But
Joyce couldn't help herself because it's literally her favorite classical composition and her favorite composer.
and I do remember the off-Broadway show that used the.
I hated that show
They
so much.
butchered it in the show, Davids. Both Davids.
If you ever saw, it was called the show was it called Symphony Fantastique?
It was called Symphony Fantastique. Yes.
Yeah, and it was just basically cloth going back and forth in
It
water.
was Basil Twist, and they had it was in an aquarium. And
I know. Oh,
the shapes were moving, the lights were flashing, and it was nominated. I had to see it because it was nominated for a Drama Desk Award for Unique Theatrical Experience.
well, it was unique. If it had been 5 minutes long, I would have loved it. I would have been like,
And it
this
did
is the
win.
best thing ever.
I forget what won, but that was nominated.
It's no Worcester.
There's no Wooster group, as Joyce is saying. All right, here we go. Now, Dr. Sue, this question goes to you. This is the second question of the quiz. It's for 2 points. If you get it right, you get 2 points. If you get it wrong, David gets to steal for 2 points. Here we go. 1848 is the year. There's gold in them thar hills. The California gold rush is on, thanks in part to confirmation by the 11th President of the United States, a Democrat who saw the gold rush as another way to expand the territory of the U.S. Name him. It's a toughie, I admit.
Well, you know what name is coming to my mind? It's Seward, Seward, but he was not the president. But the idea was the gold rush, and we expanded the territory into Alaska. I think that was what was going on. Now, who was the president? 1848?
Yeah, I'll read the question again. 1848 was the year. There's gold in them there hills. The California gold rush is on, thanks in part to confirmation by the 11th President of the U.S., a Democrat who saw the gold rush as another way to expand the territory of the country. Name him.
Of course, he could have gotten California because the gold rush was in California, and then later on it was in Alaska. But I'm trying to think who was president. Of course, 1840. I'm really not good at this. Who was president at the time?
Okay. I need you to take a stab.
Well, I am thinking it could have been President Goldie Hawn.
Goldie Hawn?
Well, she was known for gold.
Rush.
Oh,
yeah.
okay. Yeah.
She was our first Jewish president. That would have been pretty cool. But
Could have been President. Well, could have been Goldie Hawn, and the gold rush was named after her.
Okay.
Is that your final answer?
That's my final answer.
Oh my God, you got it right. That's 2 points. That is
I
not
can just
the correct answer. Now, David, you've done some history teaching, and you know your history. Do you know your?
Okay.
It's pretty.
All right, let's see.
Yeah.
I just had an image of Goldie Hawn on Laugh-In being the president. Just da, 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 da. You know, Dan, it's time to do the news. Okay, anyway. All right, let's see. Washington, Adams, Jefferson, Madison, Monroe, John Quincy Adams, Andrew Jackson, Martin Van Buren, Now I know that the 10th president was. I think okay. The 10th president because we had a question about this a few weeks ago, and I believe that we had that the 10th president was Zachary Taylor.
Ooh.
So who was the 11th president? Was
I
it
have
Willard?
another idea.
Well, wait. You gotta let
Okay.
David.
All right. So I've got so the eighth president was Van Buren. I believe the 10th was William Henry Harrison, who died a month afterwards. So I think it's John Tyler. I'm going to say John Tyler.
Now, let's see if you tip the canoe in your favor. But what was your thing going to be, Doctor? You were going to say something, yeah, what was that?
Whoopi Goldberg.
Whoopi Goldberg. Oh,
Awesome.
It wasn't Whoopi Goldberg, nor was it John Tyler. It was in fact
John Polk, James Polk.
Poker.
Hey, Polk.
Oh, okay.
It was Polk. That was a big thing for him in his presidency, was expanding the borders and the territory of the United States.
All right.
The gold rush was a way for him, as you said, Dr. Sue, for him to push west and to go into Colorado and California.
Okay.
Many times.
Okay, Polk.
All right,
I'll
so
remember. He was
nobody
number
got
11.
that. We still have a 1-1 game, by the way. We are tied here in the Daverhood.
All right.
Today, yesterday quiz. The next question goes back to you, Dave, because
All right.
the year 1876, The Two Orphans, a French melodrama, was playing at this theater on the corner of Washington and Johnson Streets when fire broke out, killing nearly 300 people. Name that theater is a multiple choice. Okay. Was it the Washington Street Theater, the Johnson Street Theater, the Thomas R. Jackson Theater, or the Brooklyn Theater?
Oh my God. All right.
Theater historian that you are. 1876 was the year.
Huh?
The Two Orphans, a French melodrama, was playing in this theater on the corner of Washington and Johnson Streets when fire broke out, killing nearly 300 people. Name that theater. Was it the Washington Street Theater, the Johnson Street Theater, the Thomas R. Jackson Theater, or the Brooklyn Theater?
Oh God. I'm gonna guess the Brooklyn Theater.
Final answer?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Fine. Yeah.
Brooklyn strong in the house. You got it. You got it.
Okay.
And it's funny, nothing bad ever happened in the theater. Not in Washington, D.C., never anywhere. So, David, you have 3 points to Susan's 1, but Dr. can catch up a little bit now or all the way up. Let's see. Our next question is for you, Dr. Sue. 1929 was the year. Founded by Kurt Barthel in upstate New York, the American League for Physical Culture began what practice in the United States? And this is a multiple choice, okay? Was it meetings by nudist organizations, physical education in primary schools, art appreciation classes in museums, or the Fresh Air Fund? I'll read the question again. 1929 was the year. Kurt Barthel, in upstate New York, guy named Kurt Barthel, founded the American League for Physical Culture, which began what practice in the United States? Was it meetings by nudist organizations, physical education in primary schools, art appreciation classes at museums, or the Fresh Air Fund? Not the Fresh Bear Fund.
No, I like everything bear. So I vote for the nudists.
You vote for, is that your final? I know it's the Bears' final answer, but is that your final answer, Dr. Sue?
Yes, I stand by my bear.
Well, rawr. You're right. Yes, indeed. You got it. That is true. The nudist organization, naked camps and things like that, that was started with the American League for Physical Culture. Well done. This is a tie game. 3-3. Dr. Sue and David Sheward in our Today Yesterday quiz on this December.
Okay. Great.
Yeah. We got a game. All right, here we go.
Jim Nabel said, winning the Mexican-American War is what got us California, hence the gold rush.
Well, our guest next week has tuned in, a guy named Jim Nabel, and he is saying that one of the other things that started the gold rush was the Mexican-American War and that territorial stuff. But it was also Poe. All right, here we go. Next question. This is our fifth question, so this one goes directly first to David Sheward.
Okay.
1941. Right up your alley. Premiering tonight on Broadway is a melodrama by English dramatist Patrick Hamilton.
Oh.
No, it's not Hamilton. It's just Patrick.
Oh, I beg your pardon.
Nothing.
I'll have what he's having.
It's about an overbearing husband who delivers.
Oh, okay.
All right. Well, all right. Hold on.
Okay.
I don't even have to read the rest of the question.
Go ahead.
But here's the deal. When the show debuted in England in 1938, the play had one title. In America, it had another. For a point apiece, name both titles.
Okay. When it was in England, it was called Gaslight. And in America, it was called Angel Street.
I'm not even going to fake anything there. Yes. Well done. You just had it with Patrick Hamilton. I didn't even have to read the synopsis. Well done, David. David has the lead now, 5-3 in our game. Well done, man.
And it's actually in the lyrics in a song On the Town where Nancy Walker, the cab driver, I think it's come to my house. Come up to my place, and Nancy Walker is trying to lure the young sailor to her place, and he says he wants to see Tobacco Road, and she said that show closed. The actors watched their feet, and now it's Angel Street, because that was the long running show of the day
in America, in the United States, and
on Broadway.
Of course, it was Gaslight with Ingrid Bergman and was it Lord Rings, or who was the bad guy?
The movie was Ingrid Bergman and Charles Boyer.
Sorry.
And Joseph Cox.
Wow.
And Angela Lansbury.
Joyce loves Angela Lansbury. This is ticking all her boxes.
Like 18.
What? Sorry?
She's only a bird in a gilded cage.
Yeah, she played the cheeky maid, and she was nominated for an Oscar.
Wow. When it comes to this kind of trivia, David is sort of non-pareil in this. But Dr. Sue, I hope you like movies too, because this next question goes to you.
Okay.
Movie question from the same year, 1941. So December 5th, 1941, released today by Paramount Pictures. This classic satire stars Joel McCrea as a movie director of shallow comedies who wants to make socially relevant films, but with Veronica Lake in tow, learns the error of his ways. For 1 point, name the film. For the other point, its writer and director.
I know this. It's just the name of it has to come to my mind. I know he goes on a journey. He goes all over America, and he encounters, all the poor people, and it's the Depression, and somehow the word great is coming to my mind. It's
I'll read the question one more time.
Yeah, I know that movie. But what is it? It's an adventure. I don't know why the word great is in my mind. Is great in the title. Is the you can say it again.
I'll say the question again. 1941 was the year. Released by Paramount Pictures today. Classic satire with Joel McCrea as a movie director of shallow comedies who wants to make socially relevant films, but with Veronica Lake in tow, learns the error of his ways. For 1 point, name the movie, but also the person who wrote and directed it for the second point.
Because I think the person just
answer.
I can't think of the words. I know it, but I just can't think of the words. Okay, go on.
You want to take a stab at either the title or the writer director?
Let me think. Well, America is not in the title. It's not that. It's no, I can't think of it. I can't think of it.
Okay. I'm afraid that you won't get that question, but David gets a chance to steal if he knows one or both of the answers on this. David, do I need to read it again, or are you good?
No, I have an answer.
Let's hear it.
Okay, the film is Sullivan's Travels.
Right.
And director/writer is Preston Sturges.
Right.
No, it was Frank. No, you're right. You're absolutely right, David Sheward. It was indeed Preston Sturges and the classic film Sullivan's. I remember watching that and being surprised how dark it got in like the last 20 minutes before it sort of picked up again. I was like, this is supposed to be a comedy. What the hell's going on here? And then yeah.
It's interesting. The next film that Veronica Lake made was I Married a Witch, and Joel McCrea was asked to be the lead, and he said, life is too short to make 2 movies with Veronica Lake. He did not get along with her.
Whoa. I was reading her biography. She was like soused for so much of that period, and it was had a rather difficult time of things.
But she had, there was something about her. She was she had a charismatic, thing, but her career soon faded after that.
Yeah.
Well, she couldn't do very many things. I mean, she only could play a certain very limited role, I think. And, and when there was something, when you said Sullivan's Travels, it's like I couldn't think of it, but I remembered there was something special about the title. And there is something special about that title, Sullivan's Travels. It is a special title, because
Gulliver, well, it was also a nod to Gulliver's Travels.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to our next question in the quiz, which, by the way, David now has something of a commanding lead. It's 7-3. And I do believe that David gets the next question directly.
Okay. All right.
This question is for you, David. So we roll all the way up to 1968.
Ah, okay.
Arrested today at an anti-Vietnam War protest is an author whose first book sold millions of copies and whose later books included A Teenager's Guide to Life and Love, Raising Children in a Difficult Time, and A Better World for Our Children. Name this Yale graduate, that's for you, Dr. Sue, whose left-wing politics did negatively affect book sales.
I'm thinking that it could be Benjamin Spock, who was a very famous baby doctor. And I think the character on Star Trek was taken from that. They sort of said, oh, that's an interesting sounding foreign name. Let's go with that. And he was a very famous baby doctor. What were the titles of the books again?
I'll read the question again. 1968 was the year. Arrested in an anti-Vietnam War protest is this author whose first book sold millions of copies, but also wrote A Teenager's Guide to Life and Love, Raising Children in a Difficult Time, and A Better World for Our Children. Name this Yale graduate whose left-wing politics did negatively affect book sales.
I'll say Benjamin Spock.
Yeah, I would too. Does it count if I say it after he says it? Can he say it first, and then I say you're right, and then I get half point?
1/16 of
That's the way it works for women. He says it first, I say you're right, and then I get a half a point.
No, first of all, David, you are right. It's based final frontier.
So I should get at least a drink. I should get, he's right. I say you're right, and then I get dinner. That's the way it works.
Well, I'll give you dinner, of course. That's different.
That's what I want. You're right, and I get dinner. That's the way it works.
That's a little bit different. David is not single. He is very.
I do have a husband, but dinner is fine.
Yeah, that's the way it works. I know how things work.
DoorDash.
Anyway, so
Together. Okay, so here's the deal. We have a not quite a runaway game, but David's getting a lot of points here. He's
A lot of points. And what am I getting? Buckets.
not Bupkis, you got 3.
Where's
getting
my
it.
dinner?
A lot of our
you're getting an education.
Yeah.
But you do get to try and get 2 points now, Dr. Sue, with our next question, which goes all the way to 1974, and
Oh.
it is a multiple choice. Okay.
Mul-
The final original.
More than one?
I'm sorry.
Does that mean more than one?
More than one possible answers.
I like questions where there's only one possible answer, and you tell me, and then I say it, and then I win.
The final original episode
Yeah.
of Monty Python's Flying Circus.
What?
Oh, David has the voice.
Oh, that's right, David. Although this is Dr. Sue's question,
Oh, no.
we may
Yes.
have to do the Pepper Pot woman's voice of Monty Python.
Okay.
The final original episode airs on BBC tonight. Which of these things is not true about the TV series? Which of the following multiple choice questions is not true about Monty Python's Flying Circus? A. Some live in-studio audiences during the first season expressed disappointment because they thought they'd be seeing an actual circus. Or, calling unwanted internet mail spam was inspired by the Python spam sketch. Or was it, in order to air repeats of the show, the BBC first had to ask permission from Terry Gilliam because he had the tapes? Or, before settling on Monty Python's Flying Circus, the group was going to call the show An Owl, a Spoon, and a Bucket. So, Dr. Sue, it's a long question, but I'll read it again. 1974 was the year that the last original Monty Python episode aired on the BBC tonight on December 5th. But which of these facts is not a fact at all? Was it some live in-studio audiences during the first season of the show expressed disappointment because they thought they were coming to see an actual circus? Or calling unwanted internet mail spam was inspired by the Python spam sketch? Or was it, in order to air repeats of the show, the BBC first had to ask permission from Terry Gilliam because he had the tapes? Or was it, before settling on Monty Python's Flying Circus, the group was going to call the show An Owl, a Spoon, and a Bucket?
I vote for the spam answer.
So you say that is not true. That had nothing to do with.
Well, I'm torn.
You should get surgery then, because that would be painful. Yeah.
Between spam and owl, because if I were told the show was a circus, I would want to see a circus. So I think that's true. Now, the next possibility was about getting the rights. And I know you always have to get rights for everything. I think that's true. So now we're left with spam and owls. Now, spam, you know what? I still think that's not true. Why? Because spam was lunch meat in a can, and it was American. So no. That's where it comes from. It comes from that, I think. And English people, those Brits, they tend to like things like owl and spoons. They think those things are funny.
Yeah, the English just love spoons.
They love things like there was this poem. The owl and the pussycat went to sea in
a beautiful urine green boat, actually.
in a beautiful, not urine, you're really disgusting.
Thank you.
Beautiful,
We're waiting for an answer here, Dr. Sue. Yeah.
had something, money, lots of money, and lots of honey wrapped up in a 5-pound note. See, they like things like owls and pussycats. So they think those things are funny. And they throw in spoons, and they have like this poem about the moon jumping up over the moon and the spoon and the dish and the spoon. And they think those things are entertaining. That's the way they think. So I think, you know, it's typical of a British sense of humor. And I think spam, which by the way, is very pertinent to this show because it happens not to be kosher.
Oh, I was wondering where you were going with it. I was wondering where you were going with it.
Yes,
Yeah.
spam is not kosher.
I'd rather
Certainly it's not. Well, I'm not a rabbi. I'm Dave. I keep this away when the rabbi's on. But
I'd rather have.
have you made a decision sometime this year of your answer on the question?
That's my answer. That's my final answer.
Is
Which one? The
Spam.
spam? Oh, okay.
Spam.
David, first of all, no matter what, whether she's right or wrong, I'm going to need you to say spam in the Monty Python waitress sort of way.
Okay. How would you like some spam, dear?
Well, Dr. Sue, I'm afraid that is the incorrect answer. Spam, when they invented,
Oh.
when they started spam, it
I'm
was,
sorry. I was just going to say, we spotted something on the internet, dear.
so.
No, I don't think it, I'll tell you what, I think it doesn't matter if it's correct or incorrect. The fact is, it was a very good answer.
It was a great answer.
Yes, the logic was interesting.
To get points for a great answer, even if it's not correct. And
Oh, your desperation is showing, Dr. Sue.
So
Your
David,
desperation is showing.
yeah, there's a question on the table here from 1974, last day that the first run of Monty Python ended
Okay.
on the BBC. What was not true about Monty Python's Flying Circus in general? Was it that some live in-studio audiences during the first season expressed disappointment because they thought they would be seeing an actual circus? We know it's not the spam thing. In order to air repeats of the show, the BBC first had to ask permission from Terry Gilliam because he had the tapes, or before settling on Monty Python's Flying Circus, the group was going to call the show An Owl, a Spoon, and a Bucket.
First of all, as Prime Minister, I would like to say that program was a stain on the national culture scene, vulgar and disrespectful to the hard-working, napkin and handkerchief using citizens of our great country.
And by the way, Dr. Sue, this is David Sheward's impersonation of Sir Edmund Heath. So just,
No, it's actually Margaret Thatcher. It's actually Margaret Thatcher. So,
But what about the whole answer, which I actually helped him to get?
so I believe that the correct answer is not spam, the spam one. I believe it is the one about the owl, the spoon, and the bucket, because I think I read in a book that the actual original title was going to be Owl Stretching Time, not Owl, a Spoon, and a Bucket. So I will go with number D.
number D. Is that your final answer, though?
Yes, it is.
Well, just to open, I just need to write this down. But yes, indeed, David Sheward. In fact, there were several titles that they were coming up with before they settled on Monty Python. One of them was Owl Stretching Time. You are correct. Another was A Horse, a Spoon, and a Bucket. So that was
So you combine them together. That was sort of a trick.
exactly that was the little trick of the question. And also another one was Gwen Dibley's Flying Circus, because Gwen Dibley was Michael Palin's piano teacher back in the day. And the Gilliam thing was true, not because of just getting rights from the performers, but the BBC, like so many like American stations back in the 1950s, they would take the tapes to save money. They were going to wipe them. They're going to erase them and reuse them. And Terry Gilliam said, hell no, he bought them. And then he ended up having the BBC ask his permission to start rerunning the things, because he had the actual tapes with the show on them. They would
I
just,
hope he got paid for it.
I imagine, yeah. He did. He was probably making more money from that than he was originally animating for the show. Anyway, we've got we have an 11-point lead for David Sheward, who's picking up a lot of points now.
Get any points. And it's
You have three. You have three.
three.
You got
Three. That's good because that's an entree. That's a glass of wine, and I'm just torn between appetizer and dessert. I think I'm going to go for appetizer.
Well, maybe you'll get 5 points soon, and then you can have a whole big 5-course meal. So hang back, because our next question still goes to David now, because it's our question.
All right.
Because David stole the last couple of questions here.
And I helped with the owl question.
Maybe you did a little bit. Here we go. Here's the next question. We go to the year. In the year 2000, released today, was a movie soundtrack album that went on to win the Grammy for Album of the Year. Only the second time a soundtrack album won that honor. The movie, a Coen Brothers comedy about 3 convicts who escape from a chain gang.
Okay. Oh, I didn't know this won the Grammy for best album of the year. Huh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
The movie is Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? And interestingly, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? And it's sort of tied, it was kind of, I think it was like a satire or a tribute to Sullivan's Travels, which is kind of interesting. Oh, actually, the movie that Joel McCrea's character was going to make was called Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? Which is where the Coen brothers got the title.
You not only got this answer right, you got all the trivia I was going to put in there right, too. That is absolutely true. And it just connected with Sullivan's Travels, so you got those points, too. Yes. Dr.
Yes.
What?
Chain of fools.
Okay.
Is that in the movie?
Where you want me.
Yeah.
I ain't nothing but your fool. Chain, chain, chain.
Was that in the movie?
Chain.
I don't think so. No, I think that would have been more likely in the Blues Brothers or something. But thank you for that musical break, Dr. Sue.
One other thing.
Name the singer?
Aretha Franklin. But Dave, what?
Oh, one other thing was the film star George Clooney and my college, someone I went to college at the same time as, Holly Hunter.
Ooh.
Oh, what do you mean at the same time as? You know, she was in your.
We were at Carnegie Mellon University in Pittsburgh at the same time. I didn't know her, but we were there at the same time, and I would see her perform in the drama department's productions.
Cool. Was he impressed? Well, I'm impressed at Dave's lead right now, because I don't think anybody's gotten this many points in our show before. We actually have for, let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13 points for Dave. So you kind of looped around Dr. Sue. But Sue, as we promised, you have a chance to get a couple more points as we finish our game. You're just on your own.
Yeah.
Here's the last question of the game today. The year, Dr. Sue, is 2006.
Oh.
Selling for nearly £500,000 at auction in London today is the iconic little black dress Audrey Hepburn wore in Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Oh.
This dress was created by which fashion designer who died just 2 years ago?
Oh, I knew it was a black dress. Well, who died recently?
2 years ago from now? Before now? Or
2 years from now. If he is alive, 2 years from now, he's going to die.
I meant 2 years ago today, or 2 years ago before
2 years
the
ago
auction?
today. He died in 2008.
Oh, okay. All right.
Oh, is it Givenchy?
I don't know. Is that your final answer?
That is my final answer.
Way to end on a good note, Dr. Sue. It wasn't.
Really?
It was taken. Doctor, it was in fact you. Yeah. So well done. You picked up. See, you picked up 5 points. That's very good.
Yes.
Guest. 5-course dinner. So you get your appetizer, you get your soup, you get your main course, you get dessert, and I don't know, a finger bowl.
A lot of food. Can I trade in one of them for 2 glasses of wine?
Yeah, why not? Why not?
Trade in one of the dishes. I get a glass wine. I get. This is good. This is all. Actually, no, it's okay. I'll keep the wine. Just the food will be okay. Just bring all the dishes. I'll have a great dinner, and then I can take a picture and send it to you of the dinner.
Now, I think that sounds fair. So you
can send the food over because COVID, you're stuck, and maybe I'll invite someone. We could, we have dinner for 2.
Yeah, sitting opposite sides of the room with masks.
Very distant, socially distant. Don't touch me. Don't come near me. Get off me.
Anywho, I don't know what that means. And we have been playing yesterday game with the delightful Dr. Sue Horowitz. We want to thank you, by the way, so much for being on the program. Thank you for chatting with Rabbi Saul Solomon. Let's send everybody to your website, drsue.com, drsue.com. That is where you can hear her songs, where you can find out about buying the book. Is Queens of Comedy still in print? Can people still get a first-run copy of it? Or
actually, that's a very interesting question. Yeah, it's in print, and it's digital. And Amazon, I just went on their site, and they told me their last hardcover was on sale for $160.
Wow,
so
really?
I called them up, and I said, well, I've got a few at home. Maybe we could work something out. And then the soft cover, which they're also selling for a very high price. And I don't know if they have any new ones. They've got used ones or this and that. I've got a few at home. And there's also the digital. If people want to buy it, they can go to Amazon if I make that deal, or they can get it directly from me. And I will not I can tell you this, I will not charge you $160 for the book.
Well, you're Jewish, you'll charge $158. But now David Sheward, your George C. Scott book, is that available?
It is on Amazon. I haven't checked the price, so it did not get a second printing. It is in the first print, and it's on Amazon. I think you can buy it.
And what's it called again? Rage and Glory?
It's called Rage and Glory, The Volatile Life and Career of George C. Scott.
Right. And so when are you going to do Rage and Glory, The Volatile Life of Rabbi Saul Solomon? Have you thought about...
Well, I don't know. Is his life full of rage and glory?
It's full of acid reflux.
Oh, okay.
Oh, Joyce just said that your book, David, is $29.95 on Kindle.
And the hardcover.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
What's on Kindle?
Hardcover is $56.17.
Oh, of which I get nothing.
Why do you get nothing?
Oh, it's a long story.
That's why I think it's better to buy directly from the author, because they have to pay all this money to Amazon, and I only get a small cut.
I have copies. I do have some copies myself at home. So
of course you have your own copies.
One of your websites, David, is it on the David Desk? Is there a place where people can buy it and send?
That's an idea. Yeah. That's an idea. I might set that up.
Contact David from his site.
Yeah, you can. I assume there's a contact also on one of your websites where people can email you or fill out a form and say hi to you and buy your book. And that's great.
They can put in a comment, and as it's interesting, I have had one person ask me, whatever happened to Trish Vanderveer, who was Scott's 5th wife?
Yeah.
And as if I would know, but I was not able to. You would think that I would, but I was not able to. She just sort of dropped off the map after their marriage ended, and she stopped acting, and no one's heard from her. So I tried to reach her, but she was very difficult to get a hold of.
Okay. Well, no, but at least I think I sent you that email. That email came to me.
Oh, yeah, that was from you. Yes.
I don't know why it came.
I had to reply to the person and tell them she just dropped off the grid.
Yeah. Well, hopefully she's healthy. Hopefully you guys stay healthy. Dr. Susan Horowitz, excuse me. Thank you so much for being with us in the Daverhood today. Thank you, David Sheward, for being with us every week, we hope, and stay well, both of you. And, not once, I guess I didn't make any puns this week. So, David Sheward, could you just say it anyway?
Oh, Mr. Peabody.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Have a great week. Have a great holiday. Happy Hanukkah to you, Dr. Sheward. Happy Christmas to you, almost. David Sheward.
Happy holidays. I'm starting the war on Christmas right now. Happy holidays.
I'm with you. All right. Okay. Bye-bye, man. Thanks so much.
Bye. Thank you.
There we go.
I'll leave.
Oh, wow. Wow, what a wild
That was very intense.
and crazy.
Very intense.
But I'm so glad we had two people playing the game. It's so much more fun. Not that David wouldn't have been fine alone.
And honestly, she did really well. Most of the guests don't score. She did well.
She got 5 points. So congratulations to Susan
But I'll tell you,
Horowitz.
David is like the undefeated champion. No one can beat him.
Well, first of all, the
He's
president.
like the Ken Jennings. He's
Yeah.
like the Ken Jennings of your quiz.
He didn't get the president one right, but he got that Sullivan's Travels one. Not just
Sometimes I think he gets stuff wrong just to be more human. Like some people don't get mad.
I wonder.
I think he fakes it. He's like a blonde.
Yeah. Well, only his husband knows if he fakes it. But knock. You're watching. You're getting so good with those noises. Now, are these the new people start after Ben? So we have people tuning in, and those include Adam and Ann T. and Michael J. and Ratanya. Funny, we don't need a last name initial for Ratanya. And AP channel. Well, there you go.
AP channel's like an actor something channel.
Yeah, well, welcome. Greg and Maria and Jamie.
A whole channel. Oh, and Alan just tuned in to Escondido.
Hey, Alan and Jerry and Trevor and Mary and Rosanna and Tim, Madeline, Bob, Tom.
Ralph? Oh, wait, Ralph.
Yeah, you have Ralph. You have
Andrew, Jim, Mark, and Alan.
Jim, Mark, and Alan. It is so good to see all of you. See, Joyce, this is she's not just here like helping out and making comments and making jokes and reminding us about Lin-Manuel Noriega. Joyce is the one
How
who's...
did they not get Berlioz? What's wrong with these people?
Berlioz is my second favorite breakfast cereal. Nice big
Syphilis.
bowl of... Remember Syphilis?
Yeah.
No, I got that wrong. I got that there was a Simpsons moment. It was early in a Simpsons episode where Mo Sizlak is going to Apu, and he says, completely out of the blue, he said, hey, do you have a breakfast cereal for people with syphilis? And it was, Simpsons was never a children's cartoon. Well, it was just thrown backwards at the request. And then I always thought that you see him later in the program eating a bowl of syphilos. But actually what it was even better. Later in the show, just incidentally, you watch him eating the cereal Penicillos, which makes complete sense if he's got syphilis. Great classic moment. I miss The Simpsons. I haven't seen them in so long. Anyway, if you miss all or part of episodes of Dave's Gone By, you know what to do. You can either scroll back and watch them right here on Facebook, at least the shows from the past 3 or 4 years. But if you want to go back even further than that, you can see them all or hear them all at davesgoneby.com. DAVESGONE. davesgoneby.com. This is the place where the very first episode that we did back in 2002 on terrestrial radio, an hour long. Go listen to it. It's a lot of fun. The 100th episode, the 500th episode, they are all there. And they're free. First as audio files, and then when we started doing this as a video show, those are there too. Week after week, year after year, 770-something episodes of this. All for free. You can watch them at any time. You can skip over parts if you're a little bored, or if you're waiting to see an interview or to play the Today Yesterday quiz from a few weeks back. You can just skim right to that point. A lot of fun. You can even download the files as MP3s and listen to them elsewhere. davesgoneby.com. It's all there for you. Plus, we put our episodes on archive.org. Archive.org. This is a not-for-profit website that is collecting entertainment materials, books, and music and TV shows and old-time radio shows from like the past 150 years. And they've got it all together, and they've been hugely helpful during the pandemic. They even started like a free lending library of millions of books for people because they couldn't get out, they couldn't go to school, they couldn't do anything. So it's all there, archive.org. Our programs are there as well, as are our interviews. Plus, we put our audio on castbox.fm if you're specifically looking for podcasts that you can just listen and take with you, castbox.fm, and look for our material as well on YouTube. We have our own YouTube channel. Want to also remind you that if you want to read my stuff, my plays, my theater reviews, my, God, lots of tons of songs and things, I've been putting them as frequently as I can, because we're talking about 30-something years of material here, on another website, davelefkowitz.org. Dave Lefkowitz, Lefkowitz, davelefkowitz.org is a place where you can just at random pick a one-act play that I've written, pick a full-length play, or if you're curious about the shows that I went to see on and off Broadway in the late 1980s through the 90s, you know, they're there. Give them a look. You might have some fun. davelefkowitz.org. And finally, something that isn't touting myself, but is touting one of our sponsors, Hewlett Minuteman Press, the copy kings of Broadway. Broadway in Hewlett, Long Island, by the way. This is the Minuteman franchise owned by the Torong family in Hewlett. But these are, I'm even when I was living back in Colorado, I used these folks because they're great people, they charge reasonable prices, and they do very quality work. Here's what they do: the one-stop shop for all your printing needs. And it goes so far beyond printing at this point. If you have a baseball team and you need logos or names on uniforms, they do silk screening. They put your company's logo on banners and balloons and calendars and pens and pencils and sporting goods. If you have holiday cards that you want to send out, now's kind of your last chance. Wedding invitations, business cards, all of these things Hewlett Minuteman Press can help you with. As a matter of fact, in honor of Dr. Sue, let me look at their one sheet. That'll tell me all the things they do just for the letter D.
What can they do to her teddy bear?
Let's not even talk about Tedley here, but date stamps, decals, desk signs, desktop publishing, they can help you with that. Die cutting, diplomas, they can laminate diplomas for you. Door hangers and drinkware. Yeah, they do all of that. It's not just like make a copy or a double-sided color copy. They do all sorts of stuff. Hewlett Minuteman Press. Call now for a no obligation quote and tell them Dave sent you, because you get 10% off any job, big or small, if you give them a call. 516-569-5577. Area code 516-569-5577. Hewlett Minuteman Press. They are the copy kings. And I feel like king of the universe when I do this program every Saturday from 9 until noonish or thereabouts. It's called Dave's Gone By. I'm Dave Lefkowitz. That is my darling and adorable wife, Joyce. This is Potato. Potato, how you doing? Are you getting a little warm in your cap? Oh, he's been sweating vodka into his hat there. We'll take that off for a while. How's your mouth doing? Are you going to need a visit to Dr. Shelley Blobstein? Because if only my car was as clean as my kids' teeth. And so let's take a look at your teeth. Hold on. Oh, I don't see. Oh boy. All right. Yeah, we got to make an appointment for Potato to go there. But ladies and gentlemen, we still have a bit more to do on this episode of the program. We have our Wretched Pun of Destiny coming up. We have our Colorado Limerick of the Damned and our friends of the Daverhood. But let's take just a few minutes to have a little fun. Not that we haven't been having fun yet, but you know, we haven't gone this week yet to where Joyce and I were living for a bunch of years in Colorado, a little town called Greeley that has a newspaper called the Greeley Tribune. So it's an actual normal-ish local newspaper, but the point is they have two columns in there that are just a little bit abnormal. One is called Coplog, and the other is called 100 Years Ago. Coplog is the ridiculous phone calls that sometimes come into the Greeley Police Department from people who either need help themselves or notice something in their neighborhood that they want to call the cops about. These are public records, and the funniest ones are put together and put in the paper every week. Plus, they have another column called 100 Years Ago, stuff that was in the Greeley newspaper back in 1920. They're fun. We like to share them with you in a segment that we call Greeley Crimes and Old Times. Greeley Crimes and Old Times.
Like Charlie Brown.
Oh yeah, this is my special holiday Hanukkah shirt, ladies and gentlemen. Live, laugh, Latka. Are you ready for some laughs? Are you ready for some fun in Greeley, Colorado, my darling?
That place wore me out.
I know.
I need an omelet and I need some nap. That
Here we
quiz was too intense.
Well, it was fun though. It was fun. Here we go.
I think that Dr. Sue is the new Leslie. Leslie better watch out. She has bears and she knows a lot of stuff.
That's right. She got 5 points. That's very, very good for a first-time
That's
guest.
one of the highest that a lot of people got.
Yeah. I think one guest got 6. That was pretty impressive. Like a week or two ago, we had a guest really jump up there. But yay!
We didn't get Berlioz.
And David with 13 points. I realized one of the reasons David hasn't gotten that many, because when you have 3 contestants, there aren't that many points.
Yeah.
That you can get, but 2.
I think he did really well.
Oh, he did fabulously.
I need to talk to him about publishing and getting rights for your books.
Totally, absolutely.
He needs to get
Why, Joyce, are you writing a book?
No.
Oh.
I've written many books and I am writing a book and I get paid. I get royalties for them all, baby.
Yeah, that's what we're living on. That's
Spam. You're living on spam.
That's buying our omelets and spam, eggs, bacon, and spam, egg, sausage, and spam, spam, baked beans, spam, and spam, and Greeley Crimes and Old Times, ladies and gentlemen. So let's do it. Let's mix them up. Let's hear some crime. Let's hear some old time. A caller on 16th Street found a dead squirrel in his rose bush, and he didn't want to touch it. What did police do? What do you think police said or
They
told?
shot it, and after they shot it, they got a shovel and they beat it, and then they shot it.
No, this was a white squirrel.
Oh.
No, I'm just kidding. No, the police said, instead of helping, police just told him to use a shovel and throw it away. Police have gotten into this thing of like, clean up your own mess. And remember last week, everything the police were like, they would show up and say, you deal with it.
It's a party. We're not going to go there. Call the landlord.
Oh, man. Oh, here's this is kind of fun. In Greeley, and this just happened last week, a 25-year-old woman could face felony charges in Weld County because deputies said she left this in the jail lobby. What do you think she left?
And I got it.
Oh. Want to take a guess?
Is it a feminine hygiene product?
No.
Oh, good. Okay. Her gun.
No. Good guess.
Nice.
Very good guess. No.
Drugs. Meth.
She left a purse full of meth in the lobby of the jail. Taylor Gandy went to the jail. She was 25 years old. Taylor Gandy went to jail to post bond for one of her friends.
Oh, Jesus.
She left about 11 o'clock at night and later realized she had left her purse. She contacted a deputy to report the lost property, a gray purse with a Colorado Rockies lanyard and $600 in cash. A sergeant with the sheriff's office retrieved the purse, went into it to look for some ID.
Oh, my God.
And found inside a zipped pocket a bag containing a crystallized substance that tested presumptive positive for 33 grams of methamphetamines.
If you have meth in your purse, don't call the police to find your pocketbook.
I know. But the thing is, what would they do? Like if she never, eventually they would have tracked her. Do you think
they would have found her name in the purse? But she should have gone there like a meth addict and grabbed the purse and ran.
I know. She probably didn't realize until the next morning that it was gone. The deputy told Gandy to meet at the jail lobby, but she didn't show up. The next day, she texted the deputy to say she was sick and lost her phone. When she showed up the following day, she was arrested on suspicion of drug distribution.
Yeah, because she had $600. She was selling it.
Oh, wow.
How did you think she made the $600? She wasn't going to Costco.
Drug possession and violating a protection order that prohibited her from possessing drugs.
Oh,
man, wow.
See, that's what you get. No good deed goes unpunished.
I
You
know.
go to get your friend out of jail, you end up getting caught.
You know. And folks, leave your meth at home. Really, leave your meth at home.
Teacher.
Leave your meth at home. Do. Let's to more casual, gentle times. Let's go 100 years ago. In the nationally circulated magazine, See America First, there is a story about Greeley. It is titled, Greeley, Colorado, where irrigation is king. Huh? Nice, huh?
That's enticing. I want to go see it.
And I'll bet that's a running column. Some people say I don't do much with this program, but I make the most of it. Well, you're saying I'm all wet? I don't know.
I was thinking that right when you said it. That's great.
I am kind of a drip. But okay, here we go. Well, I wasn't on for a week. I'll bet you missed me.
I hope you don't evaporate.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a Lupton alert. Oh, this is very exciting, ladies and gentlemen. This is a story about Fort Lupton.
Alert, 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 alert.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it is a Fort Lupton alert here on Dave's Gone By. Oh, that means,
Greeley was no
stop
fool.
that.
I'm sure that you
Stop it, Groucho.
agree.
Shut up. We're not ready for you yet. Sorry
He
about that.
wasn't in the Women of Queen comedy book.
That's right. Fort Lupton alert. Mike Lucero of Fort Lupton was found not guilty by a jury in the case of first-degree murder. Lucero shot another man 3 times when he caught the man attacking Lucero's wife. Yeah, attack. Kind of interesting, he was attacking her with his pants down. The jury deliberated for 2 minutes before agreeing on the not guilty verdict. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I was in a capital offense trial in Greeley, and they told me it'll take a day or 2. These trials take weeks in the East Coast and the West. It's like they're like, 2 days.
Yeah, they decide what. But not 2 days. This jury deliberated, I think it said, for 2 minutes.
Yeah, they went back. They're like, yep. And
Yeah.
then they went.
Oh, yeah, this was, by the way, 100 years ago, this Lupton alert. Also, 100 years ago, a local merchant placed a weighing machine in front of his store so customers could weigh themselves. Soon, he saw a man standing on the scale and taking off his hat and coat. The merchant asked him why. The man said he wanted to see what he weighed without his outdoor clothing.
Oh, God.
As the man walked away, the merchant muttered, quote, "He wouldn't weigh much less if he took his head off as well." Oh.
Wait.
Oh, that old-timey humor. Nothing like he took his head
Yeah,
off.
but that's why that man is a storekeeper and not a comedian.
That's right. Yeah, open mic night, people threw fruit.
Keep your day job.
Yeah.
Keep your day job.
Makes me laugh sometimes. Just makes me laugh.
Why did you become Big Dave from the shopping channel?
Happy damn. Let's get back to some modern times and modern crimes. Police responded to a sandwich chain on 11th Avenue.
Oh, Subway, probably.
Yeah, probably actually, where a highly intoxicated man without a mask was being loud and disruptive. The man was unable to walk. That should be kind of funny if he was shouting, "Pick me up, my legs are broken."
How did he make it to the Subway?
I don't know. You're hungry enough. They make a nice sandwich, and you're just thinking like, I can just 5 more feet. I can crawl there. Oh, police also responded to a church parking lot on 31st Street, where a caller reported a convertible drove around the parking lot at least 150 times.
What? How would you count?
That's exactly what I was thinking. Who is sitting there watching out the window? And they said, no, it wasn't like 20 times. It wasn't for like an hour and a half. They drove around at least 150. It's the worst driving school ever, I have to say.
Maybe the car was locked in some kind of thing.
I don't know. There's just, anyway, let's do, we have to go outside of Greeley, Colorado for 1 or 2 more of these, because we have, even during Greeley Crimes and Old Times, we have some weird news, odd news that we'd like to share with you. For this one, we're going all the way, with apologies to Borat, to Kazakhstan. Check this out. My hero of the week, Yuri Tolochko. Yuri Tolochko, a bodybuilder and self-proclaimed sexy maniac. Not a sex maniac, by the way, but a sexy maniac.
God bless him.
Well, he's tied the knot with his girlfriend after their 18-month courtship.
Is she a cow or something?
His girlfriend is Margot, a synthetic sex doll.
Oh my God. How could you marry that?
He would have married her earlier, but the pandemic delayed their traditional wedding ceremony, capped by their first dance. I'm not making this. This is literally from the news wires. The groom shared their wedding video on Instagram. He's in a suit and a bow tie. His bride is wearing a lacy white gown. And in the social media video he shared on Instagram to 140,000 followers, Tolochko slips a ring onto Margot's finger before the couple shares a tender kiss in front of their guests.
Is she automated?
No. She's just, yeah. It's a good thing he didn't get her earrings, because then she'd fart and fly all over the room. But, and it was kind of interesting, they had a beautiful hotel suite, even though they had to be across the street from a filling station with a tire gauge. But still, yes, you can actually see pictures of this. Yuri Tolochko. Tolochko. And his girlfriend, she's cute. Yeah, she's Tolochko. Yuri Tolochko.
Oh my God.
Yeah, there you go. Yep. That's my reaction. Yep. Mm-hmm.
He's a bodybuilder. I don't understand. How can you marry something that's not real?
Well, a lot of us get into marriage and we don't know quite what we're marrying when we do, but at least he knew what he was marrying. Latex, you know.
Look, he had like a whole party.
But I will give him credit. It's not like she has one of those mouths on those dolls that's only good for one thing. So she seems to have a normal doll mouth.
But she's not real.
I know. There are a couple of movies like that where a guy married or it's a girlfriend who's a fake doll kind of a thing. But hey, mazel tov to Yuri Tolochko. I hope you live a very long and happy. Your wife, as usually happens, your wife will probably outlive you by a couple of centuries, but it's just part of what will happen. Anyway, we have another story from elsewhere in the world before we get back to Greeley. Dateline Brazil. Speaking of hot women, a Brazilian model claims that she increases her sex drive by tanning, specifically tanning her vagina. 23-year-old Letitia Martins, who goes by the name Luna LeBlanc, posted a nude Instagram photo of herself with her legs spread at the sun. Quote, "Did you know that exposing your private parts to the sun can provide you with more energy, increase your libido, improve your circadian rhythm, and help you get a good night's sleep?" she wrote in Portuguese. Comments about the model's pose, or her Instagram posts, range from hearts to warnings about skin cancer, and she doesn't offer any scientific backing for her claims. However, and this is the part that got me, I mean, you all got me, but her hobby is similar to last year's trend of pointing your genitals to the sky in what is called perineum sunning. Have you heard about this?
No.
Have you heard about sunning your perineum?
I have not.
Really? No. I'm at a loss, ladies and gentlemen. I'm literally at a, and this is obviously rare for me, I am at a loss for words. Perineum sunning. Yeah.
Peritoneum, honey.
No, that's a different part of the body, isn't it? I don't know. Anyway. Let's go back to Greeley, where people are a little bit more normal. Okay, and there's a ton of sunshine, but you don't have to shine one part of you. Police responded to suspicious activity when a caller reported a car sitting across the street from her home belonged to a nearby neighbor.
There you go.
We just don't trust anybody anymore. It's like, the initial thought is somebody's watching me, somebody's up to no good, as opposed to, oh, maybe a neighbor's having a party and they can't all park in front of her house. Maybe they're parked a few feet away across the street from my house. Doesn't occur to them. Oh man. Anywho, what else we got? Let's do one more. This is so COVID. This is like a food delivery driver on 13th Street said a man threatened to beat him up because his first food order had to be remade. This is how crazy people get. This is like, I just want my food. It's like that woman who just wanted to celebrate her 65th birthday with, what was it, champagne and a lobster dinner. And she probably went a little batshit crazy over it when she normally wouldn't have, just because it's the what. I just want to do that. This guy just wanted his food order. He wanted to get it correct, and the guy got it, like a little bit wrong, had to be redone, and he threatened to beat the poor guy up. That's the times we're living in, I'm afraid. I guess. Anyway, let's do another. That wasn't that funny. Let's do another one. A man. Oh, yeah, this is a great one to go off on. I don't have the Uga horn anymore. A man approached a police officer wanting to know if it's illegal to put train horns on his pickup truck. Wouldn't it be the most magnificent? At first I thought, wait a minute, just put them on there. And then I realized the man probably, when driving, wants to literally toot a horn that sounds like the Long Island Railroad, or one of those Amtrak cross-country delivery trucks coming through. And could you imagine that if that was in a regular car, one of those horns that goes like, this I don't know, maybe it doesn't amuse you, but a man, at least he had the good sense to ask policemen if this might be disturbing the peace. He was driving for like a milk run at 12:30 in the morning, and he accidentally sees a squirrel in the road that he doesn't want to run over. And instead of that, it's like beep beep or boop, he's got to like, you just touch it and it goes and wake up the whole neighborhood. I'm sorry, this amuses me, right? For no particular reason in Greeley crimes in old times.
Mr. Horace Greeley was no fool. I'm sure that you'll agree with me that Greeley was no fool.
What he is getting at is that Mr. Greeley was no fool.
Yippee-yi, yippee-yi, yippee-yi-yi-yi, yippee, yippee, yippee.
Thank you, Groucho and Company. Well, it's been great keeping company with you on this Saturday, December 5th, 2020, with Dave's Gone By, and we're not through being your companions yet. We're going to be here a few more minutes because we have a couple more things to do. We have our Friends of the Daverhood segment coming up, as well as, and I pre-apologize for this, our Colorado Limerick of the Damned. But before that, oh my friends, we actually have a brand new Wretched pun of Destiny. Now, A Wretched Pun of Destiny is a short, very, very short story that is capped by, oh, there you go, a really terrible, sickening, nauseatingly bad play on words. They're not dirty, generally, at all. They're G-rated, but they should be GI series rated, because they're just gonna make you go like, oh God, oh, I don't feel well, because they're that bad. And this one's up there. This one is really up there, and it's about Judy Garland. So if you're listening and you're heterosexual, you might want to tune out for like 2 minutes. But ladies and gentlemen, A Wretched Pun of Destiny, all about Judy.
The days gone by, wretched pun of destiny.
Judy Garland is on her last day vacationing in Mexico when she stops into a bakery for a snack. She orders a slice of apple pie that turns out to be the best she ever tasted. Oh my God, she says, I have to bring one of these back home. She buys a whole pie and carries it to the airport. But as she's going through customs, the agent warns her of a limit on fruit you can bring to the US from a foreign country. If that pie has more than a pound of apples, she says, you can't take it on the plane. I don't know how heavy it is, says Judy. Do you have a scale? No, says the agent, but the gift shop on level 2 does. Ask Lorraine, she runs the place. Wait, where on level 2? You can't miss it, says the agent. There's a big Mexican hat by the window, and Lorraine stands next to it, blowing on it to keep the flies off. Ah, says Judy, I think I got it. Mexican hat, the owner posing next to it, and a scale for the pastry. It's like the old song. What old song? Says the agent. Replies Judy, sombrero where Lorraine blows way up high. We here at Dave's Gone By apologize for bringing you the Wretched Pun of Destiny. The tragic part is I think I spent well over an hour trying to finesse this pun. And all I get from my wife is like, oh my God, which is the only real response to a wretched pun of death. Sombrero where Lorraine blows way up high. Isn't it beautiful? Isn't it beautiful in a truly tragic and awful way? I think so, as is this whole program, Dave's Gone By. Well, first of all, we want to thank a couple of people who took part in the program. Big, big, big thank you to Rabbi Saul Solomon, who is going to be celebrating Hanukkah this week. I don't know how, but he'll be doing it. He's got his candles, and I think he's thinking in terms of lobster dinner. But for more about Rabbi Saul, go to his website, shalomdammit.com. Shalom, D-A-M-M-I-T, shalomdammit.com. And he's got a ton of stuff there. He's got his rabbinical reflections, which are these mini sermons that he does. He also has the 10 episodes of the very, very funny TV show he did on Long Island Cable about 15 years ago. And he even has all the footage, and really well recorded too, of the one-man show that he did back in I think it was 2011, like it's almost 9 years ago, that he did Shalom Dammit, an evening with Rabbi Saul Solomon at the Richmond Shepherd Theater. You can see it right on his website, shalomdammit.com. Thank you also so much to our new friend of the Daverhood, Susan Horowitz, Dr. Sue. Keep tab.
Wow, she really held up again. David is
man, yeah.
David is like the Tyson, the Mike Tyson of the quiz world. Like nobody,
But she did really well, and she held up under the intense questioning of Rabbi Saul. She was really a very, very fun
Rabbi
guest.
Saul was very nice to him. He was very mellow. And as Rabbi Saul gets older, he's much more nice.
Well, it depends who he's talking to. I imagine if Mahmoud Abbas was the guest, he might be a little bit, but who knows? Who knows? Well, since Mahmoud Abbas, I think, is dead. He might be a little mellower too. But here's the deal. Here's Dr. Sue, DRSUE.com. And this is the place where you can get her book, where she talks to Carol Burnett and Lucille Ball and Phyllis Diller and the queens of comedy. She's got copies of the book and she will sell them to you at a reasonable rate. Just go to drsue.com, and that's also a place to hear the fun songs that she writes, both comic ones and more serious ones, and she's a very positive person. That's the thing. Her whole website is all about positivity and entertainment, and she maybe brought out the positive in Rabbi Saul, which is very rare to do. But we welcome Dr. Sue as a new friend of the Daverhood. We also like to tell you what our older friends of the Daverhood have been up to. People who've been on this program over the years, we keep tabs on them. They're friends, they're family. And that's why we call this segment Friends of the Daverhood. Taylor gets very excited by this music. So these are the friends of the Daverhood for this week, December 5th, 2020. Vicky Quaddy, who tunes into the show pretty much every week.
She liked it this week.
Oh, she was with us. Great. Vicky Quaddy, her new book, Close Encounters of a Chicago Kind, is available. You can buy her book from eckhartzpress.com. It'll take me forever to read that. ECKHARTZ press.com. Yeah, just find Vicky Quaggy and look for her book. It's the book again is Close Encounters of a Chicago Kind, and it's the perfect, especially if you're holed up in Illinois, which is facing quite a lot of COVID-related trouble. You know, this is a great book all about Chicago in the best of times and the kind of life in Chicago and the people who are there. Let's see, who else? Oh, Christine Petty, our Broadway and cabaret star. Christine Petty sings on Stay at Home, benefit songs for children of health. Oh, I'm sorry. They came up with a song called Stay at Home, which they put on YouTube, they put on the internet. It's a benefit for children of healthcare workers who have died of COVID. So find it on YouTube. Christine Petty is one of the performers on the song. I want to let you know that today, December 5th, they will have an encore showing of Uda Lemper, her cabaret set, and she did it at Club Cumming, Alan Cumming's venue in New York, but you can watch it at clubcummingnyc.com. Also today, speaking of concerts and friends of the Daverhood, Ben Vereen, the York Theater Company, he's taking part in a concert for them. So if you want to support the York Theater and throw them a little money, you can watch Ben Vereen in concert at the York Theater's website. Tomorrow, Sunday, Tom Tose, the songwriter and singer, he is part of a concert as part of Urban Stages Winter Rhythms series. Again, that is online. Look for Urban Stages and our friend Tom Tose. Now, starting tomorrow and running for 2 or 3 weeks, the Hanukkah Celebration of Light with our two friends, Zalman Lotek, who is a musical director, and actress Eleanor Risa. And you can watch that at onstage at kingsborough.org. I think it's being sponsored by Kingsborough College. Onstage at kingsborough.org with both of our friends, Zalman Lotek and Eleanor Risa, taking part. On December 7th, a day that won't live in infamy because we like this person, Tanya Pinkins she has won the League of Professional Theater Women's Rachel Carruthers Award, and the ceremony, she'll be awarded that on Monday. For more information, go to theaterwomen.org. On the 8th, Tova Feldscher is going to be doing an online show. She is part of a play, Libby Vainberg's play, The Get, all about a Jewish divorce. Find that at Rattlestick. Rattlestick Playwrights is doing that online. And then on the 8th, I wish I could be there for this, Ben Catcher, the cartoonist, he is going to be at the Peninsula Public Library in Lawrence. So I don't know how many people can physically go see him, but they're also going to Zoomcast it. Ben Catcher, Peninsula Public Library, that is happening at 1 o'clock on the 8th. I do believe, let's see, if today's the 5th, 6th, is on Tuesday that is happening this week. And then on Thursday and running through the beginning of January, Irish Repertory Theater is doing a Zoom version of Meet Me in St. Louis, featuring our delightful friend of the Daverhood, Melissa Errico. Go to irishrep.org. Reminding you that Barbara Fasano and Eric Comstock are doing duets on their YouTube page, and not only that, the club that they usually perform at has opened its doors again. So they're going to be there performing at the club, and a few people can physically go see them as well as watch online. I should put down the club. I'm sorry I did not. But just look for Eric Comstock and Barbara Fasano on YouTube and on Facebook. Evan Seplow is the founder of StageBuddy.com, which is posting all these stories about virtual Zoom shows and stuff that's going on in Manhattan, even though we're still in the midst of a pandemic. And Dr. Demento, still doing Dr. Demento shows at drdemento.com, soundsofbroadway.com, founded by Stuart Brown. That is 24 hours, 7 days a week of Broadway show tunes. And Bob Cudmore doing podcasts of New York State history and the Lost Mohawk Valley. That's his book, is at bobcudmore.com. And those, my friends, are the friends of the Daverhood. So, wow, we've had so much going on this Saturday, December 5th, 2020, this episode that we've been calling Sue Me, in honor of Dr. Sue, who was our guest in the Daverhood. We've done some, we had Greeley Crimes Old Times, we had the interview, Rabbi Saul, we had the trivia quiz, we went to, we went inside Broadway, so much. But as we do every week, we're going to close on an intentionally sour and horrible note. Ladies and gentlemen, how could I finish a Dave's Gone By episode without doing a Colorado limerick of the damned? This is because Joyce and I were living in northern Colorado for many years. I took it into my head to write a short poem about every possible town or city or municipality in Colorado that I could think of, or even ones that I couldn't think of, where I could get out a list and an atlas and say, oh, I've never heard of that place before. Well, we've been doing it week after week after week for almost 3 years now. There's that many. I'll have to put out a book of those things at some point. But for now, we just do one a week of Colorado limericks of the damned.
A limerick is a comic verse of 5 lines, in which lines 1, 2, and 5 will end with words that rhyme. And likewise, verses 3 and 4 also end with words that rhyme. So this is a limerick.
So, ladies and gentlemen, this time we go to another not so well-known place in Colorado, because we've done Boulder and we've done Denver and Greeley and things like that. But have you heard of Coal Creek? Coal Creek, Colorado. It's in central Colorado, a coal mining community initially founded back in the 1870s. Current population is about 400 people. And here's the weird part. It's like Loveland. There's 2 Coal Creek Colorados. One of them is in northern Colorado, another is not. But I'm like, why? Why would you put 2 of the same name town in one state? It is mind-boggling. But even more mind-boggling is that I wrote a poem for one of them or both of them, take your pick. It is our Colorado limerick of the damned. There once was a whore from Coal Creek who fell for a horny old freak. He paid for one night, but things went so right, she stayed in his bed a whole week. That really wasn't that bad. That was tamer than our usual. No cursing there. I mean, whore was the worst word in there. But ladies and gentlemen, that was our Colorado limerick of the damned. For this Saturday, December 5th, 2020, where you have been watching the 775th episode of Dave's Gone By with me, Dave Lefkowitz. Thank you so much to my fantastic, amazing, and always helpful wife, Joyce. Joyce, do you have any holiday Hanukkah wishes for our viewers?
Feliz Navidad y Prospero.
Well, pre-Navidad and Prospero Año and Año con Salud. How about that one? A healthy year for all of you. Fiesta de las Luces. See, the Festival of Light for our Jewish viewers and listeners. I think Kwanzaa is a couple of weeks away, and I don't know when Festivus. Eid. Let's not forget Eid. I like that name. I don't like it as much as saying Lupton. But say Eid with me, will you? Eid. 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 I like it. Thank you for that. Eid. Well, I need to also thank one more time Dr. Sue Horowitz for being with us in the Daverhood. Go to her website, drsue.com. Thank you to David Sheward for playing the Today, Yesterday trivia game with us. His websites include the daviddesk.com, culturalweekly.com, and theaterlife.com. Read him in all of those, and also get his book about George C. Scott. You can find that just by writing to him. He'll sell you a copy. You don't have to pay $60 on Amazon for it. He'll sell you for 53. No, he's not Jewish. He might actually give you a good deal. So anywho, I know. Anyway, thank you to both of them for being with us in the Daverhood. Shout out to Leslie Blake, who once again could not make it. She's, every week it's sort of 50-50. Is Leslie going to be with us? Not going to be with us? Well, we never. Mystery. Yeah, that's she's a woman. She brings mystery into the room. But we thank her when she's here, and we wish her well when she's not. And thank all of you guys for listening. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for telling folks about this program, that they might enjoy it, that they can watch the archives at davesgoneby.com, that they can also watch them at archive.org, that they can listen to them at castbox.fm, that they can write to me at davesgoneby@AOL. I know about my audience. davesgoneby@AOL.com, or just leave me messages right here on the Facebook page all week long. We also have a Twitter feed, Radio Dave 2. That's Radio Dave and the number 2. Rabbi Saul, he's got shalomdammit.com, and his Twitter feed at Rabbi Saul Solomon. Gosh, what else do I have to? And a big shout out to my mother-in-law, whose birthday it was yesterday. Most happy and healthy birthday. Happy birthday also to my cousin 2 or 3 days ago, my cousin Stephanie, who has been on this program once or twice, I do believe. So again, stay well, stay healthy. I know you've been getting together with extended family, which is not perhaps the wisest thing to do, but I'm hoping that you are all careful and well. And if you get it, you'll get herd immunity and you're all fine. But ladies and gentlemen, Eid. Oh, I love it. I love saying that, Eid. But I need to go. It's time to leave the Daverhood for this Saturday, but tune in next Saturday, December 12th, for the 776th edition of Dave's Gone By, when we will have as our guest the writer, playwright, and songwriter, musician, composer, and singer. He's also something of a polymath, Jim Nabel. He's back with the band that literally came into the studio when I was doing this show at WGBB, a group called the Randy Bandits, which have an Americana country-ish, they're very good, tilt to them. They have a new album. And then, they weren't together for all these years. They got back together, made a new record, which unfortunately I can't play for you because of copyright stuff, but we can have him on the show playing some stuff, which we will. Jim Nabel, going to be our guest in the Daverhood next Saturday, when you all will be joining us from 9 until noon or thereabouts right here on this Facebook page. So it just remains for me to wish you a very happy Hanukkah with a Not a lot of fun, but a lot of fun. Getting, I'm pretty fry for a white guy. Yes, indeed. Get it? Because it's a fry joke. It's a, yeah, no. Oh, well. Let me put it this way. If we're talking about latkes, maybe instead of saying gone by, my best way of wishing you well for the holidays is good night and Godspud. Godspud. This is Sue Horowitz with a Jewish girl named Tex.
And I'm going to sing my original song, A Jewish Girl Named Tex.
I just said that.
My mama was from Brooklyn, but she loved the cowboy stuff. He was singing about Texas in a New York Western bar. She asked him to her table and picked up both their checks. He left her in the morning with a daughter she named Tex. She followed him to Texas, still hoping for romance. She left me back in Brooklyn with my Jewish maiden aunts. But I look just like my daddy, and no one here suspects that I am really Jewish, 'cause she named her daughter Tex. You got it. You can sing along. You only got one word to learn one word. You're New Yorkers and you are smart. Here we go. I go on local dating sites. I try to find a New York date. But when they hear my name, they think I'm from the Lone Star State. Sometimes a gay guy wants to see my muscled, hairy pecs. He's shocked when he discovers I'm just a Jewish girl named Tex. Good! Here we go. One day I went to Texas to shop at Lehman Marcus. That's the only Western place I parked my Jewish carcass. Come on, laugh, let it out. Otherwise it sinks below the waist, you know. I shopped for shoes and I paid my bills with Visa and Amex. When suddenly somebody said, "Hey, could you
Oh,
your name be Tex?"
sorry about that.
Are you with me? I know I threw you a loop. Here we go. Well, I turned and saw this lady. What a hoot. She wore a New York Yankees cap and a Western cowboy boots. She said, "You look just like your dad. Good for nothing else. Come here and hug your mama. My daughter, I named Tex." Hug you? Are you kidding? You caused me stress and strife. She said, "Folks will call you names, but that's just part of life. Forget the cowboy, forget the horse, get a doctor with a Lex. Honey, you gotta learn to love yourself, and that's why I named you Tex." Now years have passed. My mom and me, our lovely Texas ladies. We shopped at Neiman Marcus in my husband's new Mercedes. I named my daughter Sadie, which is perfect for her sex. She rode a horse to her bar mitzvah, and her grandma calls her Bronx, Queens, Brooklyn, Staten Island, Manhattan, and anything but Tex.
Yes, Dr. Sue Horowitz there, with apologies and thank yous, of course, to Shel Silverstein, no doubt about that, and Gone By.